hostages as the train passed through a tunnel. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Security forces engaged in a firefight with the insurgents who used women and children as human shields.
China, Iran, and Russia conducted joint naval drills in the Gulf of Oman near the strategic Strait of Hormuz on Tuesday. The exercises, named Maritime Security Belt 2025, come amid rising tensions between Tehran and the United States. The United States extended its ban on flights to Haiti's capital until September 8th due to escalating gang violence. This decision follows reports from a UN human rights expert indicating that gang violence in Haiti is more dire than ever. A school bus carrying 31 people overturned on the Garden State Parkway in Montvale, New Jersey on Monday night, resulting in 15 injuries, Jessica Oakley reports.
The accident prompted a significant emergency response.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend. My dog is your mind's best friend.
Blah.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
I'm not can't make me make me. Yeah. Unwobbly wise, blah 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 blah. Tell me what you got. Nope, it's gonna start up.
Wake.
See that? I gotta take that. Why can't? I don't know what to say about the loopy thing. It's either on or off, and on and off, and off. When it's off and it's on, whatever. Good morning. It is Thursday, right? Trash day. I know that. It's trash day. It's Thursday. Thursday, March 13th, 2025. I'm a little slow. I know. People have been telling me that whole life. You're a little slow. I know. This program, you did not see coming. You did not see it. Today, we're going to be talking about hunting Nazis with Michael Moriarty. Now, who is a lawyer. If you are old enough, like from, my era, or maybe even slightly younger than that, you will remember a program. It's probably still running for all I know. Ba-boom, ba-ba-bum-bum-bum, Law and Order, which the first star of Law and Order was Michael Moriarty, who played a lawyer. This is not him. So why even bring it up? Because a lot of people probably think, "Oh, you got Michael Moriarty. Yeah, I'm coming in." And no, I'm not even sure Michael Moriarty's still with us. Got to be in his 80s, maybe even older. So yeah, he's not that Michael Moriarty. We have Michael Moriarty, the author, who has authored 2 series of books, both about former dead writers who are suddenly back alive, but in the past. The first series he has is about Hemingway. Hemingway going back to Ireland in 1961 at the behest of John F. Kennedy, which is kind of a weird premise, but it's cool, a cool premise. But the second series of books is what we're going to talk to him about today, is Nazi Hunting with Hunter S. Thompson in 1957. Now, it's a good day for that, to talk about Nazi hunting, because what kind of bait do you use when you're going for Nazis? I think we have plenty of bait for them, but I don't think you really have to hunt them. You could spit and hit one. I think, and I have one to show you. I brought a Nazi just for your Nazi viewing pleasure. If you would like to see, here's what a modern day American Nazi looks like.
Xenophobic nationalism, don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
To be xenophobic nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity. That is the dominant culture.
White Christian.
It's rooted in European identity.
White. So your argument is that
has been the dominant culture.
Just to be clear,
and we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture is so divided.
Your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values. That's what it has been. Would you really disagree with that? What is it then, if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of America...
For the majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah, maybe since like the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't
and
mean
now
you're
instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Dominant culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you, you and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice. And I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's problematic.
I disagree. I don't think Trump's anywhere close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Trump's basically a Democrat from 15 years ago when it comes to social issues.
So you don't think that he's conservative enough for you?
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close. No.
He's not xenophobic enough for you?
No, he's trying to import a bunch of H-1Bs. Are you kidding?
Right. Oh, so you want to get them out too? Yeah. No, I think you're making my argument for me.
So there again, you don't have to look very far to find a Nazi. You could spit and hit one. You probably have one next door to you. So hunting Nazis, it's more like just finding Nazis, or just, I don't know, whistling and they come running. And this is problematic. It's nothing to joke about. But that woman you just saw there is pretty much... she's pretty much what America is half of America is right now. It's like a lot of white, especially the white Christian nationalists. They don't even think Nazism is a bad thing. And at least Michael Moriarty, our first guest, I think he comes from the standpoint that Nazis are still the bad guys. Okay, enough on that. In the second hour, it's going to be really interesting because we have a college kid, a grad student, to be fair, but a young grad student because he was a couple of years ahead of the curve. Graduated high school at 16 and went to university, and now he's a grad student. He's got nothing to promote. I'm going to want to say his name is Matthew Grinkowitz, but if you look at how he spells his name, it could be anything. I could be way off. That's what I'm saying. But he wants to talk about politics, the state of the world, hunting Nazis, maybe. So it should be an interesting show. Maybe, you think? I say that often, and often it isn't. It's just me and these guys sitting here just yanking each other off. Like we're in the front seat of a Tesla, and neither one of us can drive or something. Anyway, so we'll say hello to them. Stephen is predisposed. That means we disposed of him out here. And I just keep getting phone calls. Anyway, I'm going to play a really quick little spot, and then we'll come back and we'll say hello to my Tesla drivers. Let's see, I'll play this just to get out of that phone.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
I'm not sure I want to get this party started now, but it looks like it's going to happen anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now are Mr. Predisposed, sit down, whatever it is, sit on your face, Ortiz, whatever he calls himself these days. He just changes his moniker every day. It's hard to keep up with him. Ron Kane, who is out looking with Hunter Thompson, really trying to find Nazis in Western Pennsylvania, and having a tough time of it because they were all on Long Island. And Mr. G.D. Pendleton. Good morning, Mr. Pendleton.
Good morning, America. MyDogTV.com. Today's guests are consonant soup of pronunciation. Consonant soup is good for your vowels.
You're talking about Matthew Gregor?
Yes. Consonant soup is good for the bowels. MyDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries and get some good biotics in you. Bro.
How is your phone buzzing the entire show's audio like that? How is your phone buzzing?
His signal causes an electromagnetic field to form, which his microphone and his wires pick up and causes the buzzing.
How do you set the phone to vibrate and tape it to your mic stand? No, it's not. No, do you set your phone to vibrate? No, I don't do that. Steven's right. It's a RF thing, and it kind of my mixer there is picking up Bluetooth shit. That's what it is. Anyway, good morning, dudes. You ready to hunt Nazis? You got your Nazi gun?
Good morning.
Your Nazi gun?
Yeah, sure.
It's like an elephant gun, but
I was going to, but the 200% tariff on European alcohol kind of ruined my mood for that.
Well, you can't brew your own. You can't brew your own Scotch whiskey. Well, no, it wouldn't be Scotch then. It would be Pennsylvania bourbon.
I guess I'm going to have to get some antifreeze then today.
All right. What was that? Bathtub gin. That was really good for you.
Bathtub jizz?
Jizz.
Oh.
Gin. The jizz blossoms. There's
a lot of auto mechanics out there that do like antifreeze, like taking and drinking some of it.
It's sweet. It's sweet. It's that's how you know if you got your car leak. You didn't bend down, dip your pinky in it.
Wow.
That's how I knew my ex had a pH imbalance.
I wasn't expecting to see you here today, Stephen. I'm happy to see you here, but I'm surprised you're here. You're not.
Well, my dad is completely on life support. He has heart failure, needs a stent, but they can't do surgery. His kidneys have failed. His liver has failed, and he has sepsis. So,
other than that, he's in the starting lineup today.
Sure, yeah. So, no. So right now he's pretty much just in the same position he's been in, basically. So, we have to go today after my interview to talk to them about end of life options.
Yikes!
Which I'm the proxy, so it's my call whether or not to pull the plug. So,
in other words, he's a goner.
It depends on what percent my phone's at when I get there.
That's a much quicker way of saying things. I have to admit that. Did you see the clip, the little TikTok clip I played with this Nazi lady?
No, let's see the Nazi lady again.
I just played you the clip. All right, it's kind of long. Yeah, here we go.
Xenophobic nationalism, don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
To be xenophobic nationalism is better?
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity. That is the dominant culture.
White Christian,
it's rooted in European identity.
White. So your argument is that
has been the dominant culture.
Just to be
and
clear,
we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture is so divided.
Your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values. That's what it has been. Would you really disagree with that?
Yes.
What is it then, if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of
For
America...
the majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah, maybe since like the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't
and
mean
now
you're
instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Dominant culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. You and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice. And I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's problematic.
I disagree. I don't think Trump's anywhere close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Trump's basically a Democrat from 15 years ago when it comes to social issues.
So you don't think that he's conservative enough for you?
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close. No.
He's not xenophobic enough for you?
No, he's trying to import a bunch of H-1Bs. Are you kidding?
Right. Oh, so you want to get them out too? Yeah. No, I think you're making my argument for me.
Yeah.
Butter me with Crisco and call me a mule.
Nazi by another name would never quite smell the same as fresh Nazis just picked out of a very white rose garden.
You have to admit she has her talking points down. She barely took a breath to get to the next ignorant statement.
I do agree with her on one thing. Trump is not really a Christian nationalist. He's a nationalist,
right?
I think the Christian.
He's a white nationalist.
If there were enough if there were more Muslims to swing the vote, he would be a Muslim nationalist. If there were Jehovah's Witness votes out there, it would. Can
somebody jump on an AI machine and make an AI of Trump with a turban, please?
They're pushing now. Every day I get this thing for uncensored AI and no restrictions. It will do anything. Now that could be dangerous.
There's already people who have gotten AIs to create child porn images and shit. So yeah, if it's uncensored, they're gonna create anything with it.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh shit. Yeah.
There was a guy arrested recently.
As soon as someone said unlimited AI, it's like, oh well, this is it because these aren't real kids.
Well, there's somebody who was just arrested who had close to 2,000 images on his computer, and most of them were AI, but he still managed to get AI to create little kids doing fucked up things. Yeah, it's really gross.
But I'm thinking that the law, since these aren't real kids, these are imaginary kids.
Yeah, this is kind of a.
If he were to do it 100% AI, they probably couldn't touch him. But if he had
I don't know. Touch him is the right word you want to use there. You couldn't touch him. Maybe you couldn't fuck him in the ass.
Prosecute. Okay, prosecute.
I got it. I have an AI video loaded up from Instagram.
But do we want
to? We just talked about it. Don't do it.
Is it safe for? Oh. That's Kanye, right?
No, it's not safe. It's Diddy. Help.
This is all AI, everybody. This
that's
is
Diddy.
AI. Someone created this.
Did he in the shower?
Here we go.
And kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantic.
LeBron, I don't like prison.
Just relax, Steph. Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
No, wait.
I'm with right now. I'm about to burst. Come in and kiss me on my.
I like how they use the audio from the leaked Diddy video where he was pounding that dude. Oh my god!
For those of you who are tuning in to our very last show, it's been our pleasure to be on YouTube and Rumble and Twitch. And
So basically, it's somebody who does not like Steph Curry. That's a shame.
I was gonna say, what did Steph Curry do to anyone? Fuck LeBron James, but Steph Curry?
Yeah, Steph Curry is like America's sweetheart. Why would they pick on him?
America's sweetheart.
Yeah. Everybody loves Steph Curry. I didn't even know who he was, and I found myself loving Steph Curry before I even knew who he was.
Yeah.
There was so much pressure on me to love Steph Curry.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you conformed. You were assimilated to our.
I'll tell you.
To the culture.
So
there
I got
are
a
so
weird...
many fucking weird AI videos out there. From
I love the
stuff
cats
that looks
working
very
at McDonald's.
real to unbelievable fake.
Well, you think that's weird? I woke up to a message this morning from what I only think might be some sort of psychic medium. This morning,
When it came telepathically, it came straight to your head.
No, weirdly enough, it was Facebook, but
that's not a real psychic would have sent it here.
But she was like, "Greetings, my dear. May the universe bless you more than your expectations and grant your heart desires now and forever." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." And then she goes, "You're welcome." And then then they put, "My dear, I was looking randomly when I got attracted to your profile because you have a grace and good vibe which no one would like to lose. Your energy is special." And I was like, "Okay."
You are special.
You know, you can stop it by just saying, I'm broke, right?
Well, I said, "I appreciate that, but I think you have the wrong person." And then they put, "I know I might be a stranger, but my purpose to you is from above, and you should try to understand things and trust the timing of the universe, that nothing happens without reason. I've messaged you because I was drawn to assist you by your guides." I don't know this person. I don't know him at all.
No, I get that shit all the time.
It sounds like Ron is punking you. I bet you that came. I bet you if you trace back that address, it comes to a computer where Ron was supposedly doing an interview.
Oh, we're not on Rumble right now. I could fix that, but I'm too lazy to go fix that, or just sick of pushing buttons. But I get those.
You should go analog, so you just slide a lever. That way, you don't have to push the buttons anymore.
Yeah. Is this the email? Oh, no, it's Facebook, right? So it's probably from people who found you through the Facebook group. Once you start doing these things, and now you're a host of these things, you're going to get inundated with fucking weirdos just trying to private message you, DM you want to see my titties, or work together, or that psychic, I'm praying for you kind of whatever.
Well, you show the titties first, then you work together. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you got to have. Yeah. Thank you, Ron. There's a protocol.
Yeah, there's order to the events.
Yes, an order of operations, as we say in math.
What are the order of operations? It's not multiply first, because that.
No, Ron just told you those are the order of operations.
But what are they?
Show me, and then we can work together.
Oh. It's not because I always start with, here's my social security number and PIN number. That's not the way to start. Because you say if you tell them you're broke, you mentioned to Steven that he should just start out by saying, "Tell him broke." I do that all the time. Here's my bank account. You'll find it empty when you get there, but and they still come back. They're the next day, and even after I tell them I'm blocking you, "Oh, please, sir, give me one chance." I give you one chance for what? We can't be friends. We don't have nothing. They're just so exhausting. They eat up all your time and energy. This is why I'm exhausted. Oh, yeah. Michael Moriarty. Are you guys? Do you guys remember? He's late anyway.
Yeah, he was the first ADA on Law and Order.
Right? Wasn't he in like? Not Gentleman. Well, one of them Woods movies. Jeremiah Johnson or one of those things.
He was also in Clint Eastwood spaghetti western, where he played this nice guy, but before he married the woman, Clint Eastwood's character.
That's right. I knew it was a Clint Eastwood movie he was in, but
Matt, you're getting a message.
Yep. Hey, it's a lot of noise you're getting.
Yeah, I think that's my microphone back.
Yeah, that wasn't mine that time. I wasn't vibrating.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's
I have a
me.
whole different vibrating.
Well, and I know GD vibrates, but usually it's in his ass. So.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, you told me that with confidence, so I figured I'd share.
Well, see, you obviously thought I told you with confidence and not in confidence. There's
my mistake. Sorry, semantics.
Do I have this correct? We're 26 minutes into the program already, and this guy's not here. And now his publicist asked me 3 times about
Message the publicist.
See, this is why I hate making new backgrounds just for the guests.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah, and this is Ernest Hemingway. That's Ernest.
I like it.
Yeah.
Get it.
And
they have no respect for the pre-production that you're doing.
No.
Just for them. I know.
Well, all the pre-production you guys did.
Yeah. That's my biggest complaint, because I mentioned to my guest last night that I was hoping she was going to be a no-show. I was hoping you weren't going to be here.
You put it in the universe. You did this.
Well, I was wishing she would be a no-show. And when I'm doing those shows, sometimes it's just like, you know what? This is not going to. It's going to suck. I hope they're a no-show. And I didn't think it was going to suck because of that she was bad. I thought I was just not up to the conversations. You know, she's been a guest of Oprah's multiple times. Like, once you don't go from Oprah to me without saying, boy, that guy was no Oprah. So that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, because you don't give away cars.
I do. I give away Teslas. I'm giving away Teslas right now.
So you're, in other words, you're a mass murderer or wannabe mass murderer, because Teslas kill. I'm sorry.
Have you seen that?
I said it wrong. It's Teslers. Teslers kill.
Right. The
Teslers kill.
Teslers.
Have you seen that? All the Teslas across the country, all these Tesla lots getting vandalized and their wheels stolen and shit.
Yeah, of course we have. This is old news. Where you been? Even Al Edwards knows.
Oh, Al told me about it. That's why I didn't know. That's why it's old. My bad.
Al talked about that 3 months ago, so you know it's old. No.
Somebody on Twitter said, I haven't seen one Democrat condemning the attacks on the Tesla stuff, the vandalism on the Tesla stuff. And I said, but did you see any of them condoning it? Because if this were the other way,
right?
If these were Republicans, you'd see people condoning these attacks. If he
well, yeah, if Musk was a Democrat, Trump would be like, they're terrible cars. You know, if you tried to take it off of the Chevy, you wouldn't have that problem.
He said that before, and Musk wasn't and Musk wasn't a Democrat. He was just rich.
Yeah,
you know, I'm coming for you. I'm surprised Trump hasn't tried getting all the presidential cars made into Mercedes or Volkswagen.
I'm really disappointed here. I wanted to talk about hunting Nazis. Not that, again, I don't think you have to hunt. It's like the turkeys in my yard. They just show up. All you got to do is go out and kill them. It's not like you have to actually hunt for them.
I don't think the landscapers like being called turkeys. I'm just saying.
It's also not nice to hunt them.
Yeah, I mean they have someone else's yard to do after yours. It's not like you're their last stop.
Yeah, what if your neighbor needs their hedges trimmed and now they can't because you fucked up their people?
Right, or their bushes whacked or their grass mowed.
Here's what's going to happen. Michael Moriarty, who is probably so sick of hearing about Michael Moriarty, will probably show up in the second hour with this college kid with the alphabet like just jumbled up and tossed out like a Matthew alphabet.
Grzynkowicz.
Yeah. So he'll probably show up when he does. I should probably let them both talk at the same time and just go for breakfast or something, right?
I have a question, Matt. For Matthew Grzynkowicz, did you just cut and paste that description?
I don't know. Let me look at what it says. Probably did. Yeah, I did.
Where'd you get it from?
From his profile on Podmatch, where he
Okay.
found me. Where he,
if he comes, I'm gonna have a discussion with him because he's a graduate student or he's a academia, and in his last sentence, he switches from third to first person in the middle of a sentence.
No, that's me. That's me, because I try it because his bio on that page was all in first person, and then I said I had to do it. Like, I can't put I in, and so.
Well, did you try throwing it in AI and say change this to first person narrative?
No, I have here. Where does it change personage in here? I don't see it.
Okay, it's toward the end. I'm looking at it on. I'm not looking at it. I'm doing this from memory. I can't see it because I'm watching a show on Govs, and Govs doesn't give the description.
Oh, well, maybe it didn't change when I did because I did an edit on it. But yeah, all I'm seeing is everything is he. Not I took out all the I's and replaced them with he.
I can find
on
it.
YouTube. It doesn't matter. I mean, basically, your point is I screwed up, not he screwed up.
Well, yeah. Well, that wasn't my point. My point was who screwed up.
But the result is the same. You know what? Should I fix this Rumble thing? Maybe I should. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Talk about AI and pedophilia while I fix this on Rumble.
Do we have to choose those two topics?
No. But I know they are those things that got you fired from the Lutheran school.
Whoa! God damn it! No, that's not true.
Oh, it's not true?
No.
Well, why did GD tell me that? I could have sworn he told me that.
Same reason he told me he likes vibrators in his ass. I told him that in confidence.
Oh.
And not with confidence.
Yeah, our mistake.
Oh, I know why I fucked up. All right. Go ahead. Keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm doing stuff. I'm fixing things.
Well, I slept last night for the first time in 36 hours. That was cool.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah. It's the very last sentence, Matt. If you start from the last word improvement, work your way back until you hit the word he, that's the sentence.
Welcome to Boomer Corner, where we
with my unique perspective.
I didn't catch the my. That's my. It's my bad, not his bad.
Yeah.
Welcome to Boomer Corner, the only corner that you can get stuck in.
All right, I can't fix this Rumble thing. We're off Rumble.
I think you should change that to it's the only corner where you can get your walker stuck in, and then because we're boomers.
You mean your pimp cane?
The best corner to get your walker stuck in.
No, your pimp cane, not your walker.
I don't have a pimp cane. I do have a walker downstairs.
Al Green has a pimp cane. Referring to
Lauren
Boebert, who called Al Green. She said that was really inappropriate for him to wave his pimp cane. Not too racist. She belongs with that blonde-haired lady with the assimilation story. Melting pots, 1960s, 1960s melting pot.
I think they mean assimilation, don't you? Because that's what they're doing. They're just dumbing things down.
Yeah. What a disgusting person that woman was. But
now is she like, because she looked familiar, like she was like some kind of podcaster or something.
Probably. Probably yes. The way that I don't know who organizes these things, these little political roast battles or whatever. They're on the clock, but it's usually one guy on the left in a room full of podcast influencers, whatever they are, right wing people, and he has to take on. And they all, it's like a tag team match, and they all with that one with Sam Cedar, he defeated all of them in very
well. He's actually very good at what he does, especially if he has time to prepare.
Right. Yeah.
He has time to prepare. He's pretty good.
Very smart guy, very thoughtful guy. The only criticism I have with communication, he is definitely on my level of ums and ahs, and
that's when he has to think. When he has to, it's like his processing. That's him downloading information.
We call
that's
that
the hum.
Eckhart syndrome. Ed Koch,
Yeah.
the former mayor of New York, who used to
I used to listen to him on XM radio on, I think it was America Left back then. Or was it Air America, or what was it called? I
called the
think it's called,
radio.
It was Air America, I believe.
yeah. Before Air America though, was it before, was Air America the first rendition of it? Because they had like they went through a couple of name changes before they landed on
I'm
whatever
not
it is
as
they
old
call
as
it
you,
now.
so I don't really remember any of this stuff. I mean, I'm just a kid. I'm a grad student. So
Grad
yeah,
from what? The School of Hard Knocks?
yeah.
Well, he went to What's the Matter You?
What's the matter, you?
School of Hard.
Oh, School of Hard Cocks.
Yeah, the N is silent.
So I guess your school mascot was a bear or an otter?
Yeah. So Jason Stewart did reschedule. I didn't see for when, but probably sometime in the. Speaking of hard cocks.
Well, so if he reschedules for sometime in the future, because I don't think he rescheduled for any time in the past.
No, he could. The calendar allows you to. I found this.
Really? And does it send us back there to do the show?
only for people in the time travel group on Facebook. They can access that stuff.
That makes sense.
All these so-called physicists, and I can't compete. To be honest with you, I'm an idiot. But they're claiming that we're getting very close to teleportation. Now, teleportation on microscopic levels has already been done in a laboratory, but
well, that's the problem. You said on a microscopic level, I mean, the oxygen atom is, you're not going to tell the difference between one oxygen atom and another, or water molecule and another water molecule.
I'm talking about Eve, not Adam.
What I'm saying is, you try doing a mouse, there's going to be a difference.
Yeah, a fly. You jump way too ahead. The mouse is a big problem, but the fly, you get a guy caught in that telepathic teleportation thing with a fly, and he comes out. It's Jeff Goldblum.
See, and the whole thing is, what happens with all the microbes that are already on your skin when they reconstruct you? Yeah, no, I'm saying they reconstruct you. You become like the microbes are the bigger part. They replace your skin, and now you have a skin full of microbes.
Well, that's where the transport machine has an algorithm that disseminates between, human DNA and all the.
Hey, there is a.
That's not what I meant.
I'm not sure if you've seen, but there is a story about the FCC has announced they want to deregulate everything.
Yeah,
everything, and.
How long before we're just all sitting around the pit and Satan is like squirting on everybody?
Yeah, the comment from the FCC said it's seeking public comment on every rule, regulation, or guidance document that the FCC should eliminate for the purposes of alleviating unnecessary regulatory burdens.
Let me just say that they are not going to get rid. They're going to put in stuff like you can't say anything bad about Trump. They're going to say that you can't utter his name in a negative way, or you will be sent to the gas chambers.
So what if you say it in a positive way like this? I'm sure Trump's an asshole. See, that's a very positive way.
Well, you'll get whipped before the firing squad.
Well, they kind of kept quiet that someone opened fire at the White House the other day. That was kind of.
Oh, did they open? That was he had a gun outside the White House because there were conflicting stories. Somebody said he broke into the White House and they shot him.
Or about a week and a half ago, someone took shots at another healthcare CEO's house. Did you really hear anything about that?
Not a word.
Not until just now.
That was the first word I heard about it.
Yeah, that happened like a week and a half ago. Somebody.
Italian, was he?
They went to one of these CEOs' house and opened fire on it.
So it's obviously someone who's not trying to kill them, because they could have just waited 10 more minutes and they'd have come out the house and they could have shot them. So they're just sending messages now.
But
we know where you live.
All I care about, was it Mario? Or was it...
I think it was Princess...
Carmine.
I think it was Princess... what's her name? Firefly? The one that's in the Zelda movies with Mario. The princess that Mario and Luigi are rescuing from Donkey Kong.
You're talking girly games here. This is Steven's realm.
Okay. The princess that Mario and Luigi were trying to save from Donkey Kong. Who was that? Was that Princess Peach? Okay, yeah.
Wait, Mario and Luigi were from Donkey Kong?
Yes.
What do I have wrong?
Well, Mario started that. Yeah, Mario started there.
I'm sorry. I'm all mixed up now.
And then they moved Mario to the game with the green lizard with the tongue.
Yeah. What was
Yogurt?
Boomer Corner talking about old games. Welcome. We were supposed to be talking about hunting Nazis. Now I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. What can I tell you? I was all Nazi'd up, ready to go. I got my Nazi prep on. Here's the thing, and since he's not going to be here, I could say this now. It's just we can't. There's a huge segment that won't even admit that Nazis are the bad guys anymore, right? We got people who, Nick the Nazi. You remember our friend Nick the Nazi? Our friend.
Oh yeah, Nick the Nazi.
Nick the Nazi. The Nazi. He's saying I should just show this clip, right? Should I just show this clip? No.
Sure, you should.
Will I get in trouble?
Hey guys, I'll be right back. The hospital called, so I just have to call the hospital real quick. I'll be back.
All right, go call Hospital, be the Babadool. Let's see here. Nick the Nazi is saying,
as much as I hate to admit it, liberals were right fundamentally about Trump. Whether he has good intentions or bad intentions, whether he means well or not, some people blame his advisor, some people blame people around him. Whatever you think about his culpability, he is in effect, okay, maybe not consciously or intentionally, but in effect, what he is a demagogue. What he is a populist demagogue. And directionally, what liberals said about him, which is that he was stirring up the rubes, animating the rubes with nativist rhetoric and ginning up resentment against the system to empower himself and the people around him, and then brought the swamp closer to the periphery in his first and second administration, willing to say and do anything. Yeah, that all kind of turned out to be true. Yeah, that basically turned out to be true.
There you have it. Me agreeing with Nick the Nazi. Nick the Nazi. He's
that's
right.
bullshit, though. That's bullshit, though.
What's bullshit?
Well, I think it's just bullshit that he would release a video like that. It's
no, his purpose for releasing it is the opposite of what I would say that same thing about.
I'm just not buying like some of these people coming out like, oh my God, the liberals were right and this and that, just because there was so much data about Trump and you knew what you're getting. Then all of a sudden you're going to try and make the switch. Now, granted,
I think the problem is you're thinking about it as like Nick is trying to do a left turn here, or say he was. What he's saying is that Trump is not Nazi enough for him. He wanted him to be more Nazi, and he's disappointed in his Nazi stuff. But the liberals were right in saying that he was a populist guy who would say and do anything. I think he's spot on around. He's not trying to placate liberals or trying to make friends with liberals. He's just trying to say this guy he's not going to put him in concentration camps. Damn it! I wanted to see them all rounded up and killed. That's what he's saying.
No, that makes sense. But I'm just talking like overall, like this whole like kind of turn that people are taking on Trump, especially since we're only like 2 months in, something like that.
I don't.
And it's like really, again, you couldn't see any of the writing on the wall, even for the people, like he's saying, like he's all in, and it's not hardcore enough. And it's like, well, even you should know better than that. That he's not going to go all in for you.
Yeah. I think the people that I'm more concerned with who are making the people who were progressives or all of a sudden becoming soft on Trump. The Fetterman, your guy. Your little senator there, or the Young Turks Network, or what is that? T1, the Young Turks, TYT. Yeah, they've gone completely into the MAGA world. So that's the one I'm more concerned with. These Nazis speaking to the fact that that Trump's not Nazi enough for them. He will be, with enough pressure from the KKK and Proud Boys and the people who back him. He will, if he realizes that those are the ones that keep him in power, he'll go with them. But it's just, I think it's important for the people who are in denial that he was a Nazi. The people who are saying, "Oh, he was never not." Well, here are Nazis saying, "You know what? He's not white supremacist enough, but he definitely. I'm the guy who voted for him, and I am. At least they're admitting what they are. They're taking the hoods off. Nick is walking down the street without his hood on. I'm a KKK.
Singing do what did he do?
Yeah. So Steven says, I'm a bad influence, but we're gonna have a lot of fun. I don't know. When does the fun start?
I think it started already. We just missed it.
I must have went right past me. I don't know. I didn't see any fun. I did not see any fun. So what are we going to do here today without our Nazi guy? We're waiting for a college kid to come on. Is this the kind of show we're producing here?
Yeah, this is where we have evolved to.
Yeah, this is where we.
I'm very disappointed in me.
Well, I'm not disappointed in you, Matt, because I had no expectations anyway. So here we are.
Appreciate that.
Well, I have entertainment almost done. Showbiz.
Wow.
Oh, here's something. This is happening locally in my neighborhood, or in my area anyway, not my neighborhood. But this is from this should be fair use because it's from WGAL Channel 8 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And apparently there is this guy going around to people's houses. Let's see, I'll expand that.
What the hell?
I am the box demon.
What is that? A paper plate?
It's it's an upside down paper plate.
Yeah, this box is a gift for you.
His audio's all fucked up, right? What
Yeah,
is he
so
saying?
it's only 15 seconds. What this guy would do, he would show up to your house like that. If you had a camera, then he would leave a gift.
Wow.
And it started, I guess it started freaking people out. And yeah, police say they have identified and spoken to the masked person who called themselves the Box Demon and left an empty cardboard box at a York County home. Officials say there are no public safety concerns.
Is that against the law? There's no law he's breaking there, right? Knocking on somebody's door and leaving them a worthless present?
Yeah, that's all he did.
But at some point, if people are scared of that, isn't there some kind of like nuisance? I'm sure Pennsylvania has some kind of archaic nuisance law that will get him thrown in jail for 30 years once they find out who that person is.
That's
You're in violation of the
but it
archaic
doesn't appear to be like ongoing like harassment.
Wow.
That's
They were
because he hasn't
probably
gotten to
like, you're kind of freaking people out. What are you doing here?
because I can see because there was a guy who was an older gentleman who was just found guilty of shooting that young black kid who who rang his doorbell looking for help.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that someone could just shoot him, drag him in the house, and
Oh, and
because we're talking Pennsylvania.
yeah, here is a picture. This is from Reddit. People are talking about Trump's hands. I'm not sure if you've seen any of this, but people are talking about
with
Trump.
the bruise on his hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a group that posts pictures every day of his hands, like new hand pictures.
Well, I'm definitely not a guy to defend Trump for anything. If anybody wants to accuse him of anything, but I think most old people, you start to see, especially in the late 70s and 80s, you start to see hand discoloration and bruises and stuff like that.
Well, you especially bruises from when you backhand your vice president because he's talking out of turn.
Yeah, well, especially that me looking at his left hand, but that big spot definitely looks like he had some kind of IV recently, and they just kind of painted it over with makeup because that's just
I
like
am so tired of getting full of hope that this guy might be dying soon because my patience has run out. Like if he's sick, that would be a good thing. If he's dying, that'd be a great thing. But I've been hopeful for that for too long, and it just never happens.
I can see where you get that because it looks like there's a bruise underneath of the makeup, and it looks like the center of the bruise is right at the edge of that vein that protrudes.
Yeah, bottom line, he might be getting all this stuff, but I think they're going to keep him alive no matter. He's like Freddy Krueger. Even after he dies, he's going to come back.
Yeah,
I think you're thinking of weekend. I think you're thinking of Weekend at Bernie's.
I bet you he's getting an IV every day, or at least every other day, of like vitamins and stuff to keep him.
Well, I mean, there's a popular thing with celebrities and even comics where they'll come out and they'll hook up an IV to you for recovery purposes, whether it's like a hangover or whatever. So he could just be getting nutrients, like you said.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything because he's not going away. He's not going away. He's like
It's probably I don't think he'll last that long because he's probably getting it from Dr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's probably stuff that he's prescribed, which means it's going to have iodine and
since you're a chief medical correspondent here, I have a question for you. And you may not know this because I know you've been out of the medical practice for a few years now. But measles. Right. If I had it when I was a kid, does my immunity last 65 years? Or if I had it 64 years ago, am I still immune to measles?
I think right now you are.
But here's the problem. You would be immune to measles, but what happens with measles is the way it works, one of the ways it works, or one of the after effects or side effects is that measles attack your some of the T cells, and it wipes out the memory that it has of other things that you were immune to or that you had antibodies for. So let's say, for example, you had antibodies for let's say syphilis, just for the hell of it. Okay, the measles would have wiped out that memory from those T cells. So now you don't have those antibodies, so your body has to relearn it. Or if it doesn't relearn it, you'll be susceptible to those things.
Okay. So was that a yes or a no? Yes, I'm mute because the reason that there's a measles outbreak locally near me. That's what I'm scared. I want to die, but I don't want to die of measles.
Also, because I don't know enough because I don't think the same measles that they started fighting back when you were a kid is the same measles now.
I think there's German measles now, right? Because they heard Trump's in power, and they're like, German measles. No.
Well, yeah. Well, we've had German measles, but I thought we fought.
Well, where the problem is, if you start having anti-vaxxers and people stop taking the vaccines and reintroduce the disease or the virus into population again, it mutates.
Yes.
It learns. It's like, all right, you already have this vaccine. Let's mutate a little bit and make it worse.
So Ron is predicting the outbreak of Italian measles, which is a little different than German measles.
Well, they're a little less fascist than the German measles, aren't they? Or a little more fascist than the German measles.
By next year, we're going to have so many fucking problems, like major problems going on all at the same time.
And that's Ron that is most optimistic.
Incompetence leaders. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well, if all things go well, 90% of the people that die from those diseases will be MAGA people.
Yeah.
If all things go well.
Yeah.
But all things don't ever go well, right? Things don't.
No, I'm just saying the odds. I mean, the odds are if you're not getting vaccinated, chances are you're a MAGA person or someone who would support, making making attorneys get attorneys.
I was thinking about this last night because there's somebody I used to be very good friends with, We had a falling out somewhere in the mid '90s, but I followed him on Facebook. Got in touch with him on Facebook. This guy went pure MAGA, but when he was on my radio show and a big part of my world, he had nothing to do with politics. He didn't know Republican from Democrat. He didn't know red from blue. He didn't know what any of that meant. Trump introduced him, or Fox News, actually, in the mid '90s when Fox News came on, that's when he started to become politicized. And so I think, there's a whole generation of people who became indoctrined over the last 30 years by Fox pure bullshit. I think when we talk about, these people, how did this happen? The two became just pumped in Kool-Aid to an entire generation of people who were never interested in politics at all. Back, before, this guy used to be, he would make fun of people like Bob Dole. Now he's hardcore Republican, MAGA, anti-Democrat, and you could tell just by the talking points that it's all coming from Fox. The language he uses is exactly what you hear from Fox. So, I think the problem is we need a Luigi to visit Fox News and Newsmax and all these places. We need to kind of I'm not calling for censorship. I'm calling for terrorism. No, I'm calling for just a wake-up call. Some of these people need to see some of the people they're talking to. They need to be paid a visit and see what the roosters are bringing home to them. That's what I think.
Welcome to Minucci's.
You smell what the cock is cooking.
Yeah. All right.
Ease up, stroke down.
We're starting these sound bites in the middle of a bite. All right.
The hospital telling you're too late. Your father made a complete recovery and he's leaving on his own power.
What happened?
I was asking Stephen. Is that what the hospital
I know. What happened?
No, say that again.
Did the hospital say that your father made a complete recovery and he's leaving under his own power?
No, we have to go and talk about the time frame and potentially pulling the plug. So
now GD would be happy. GD has I don't know. He has a plug pulling fetish. Just to be active. He wants to be the guy. So,
Finish inside me.
Well, let's just say in my family, if you're not serious about it, don't put me in charge of it.
Or, yeah. But it's just it's like balloon popping to him. You know how some people.
Well, that makes sense. But
my mom saw how I dealt with my sister, and so my mom changed her, made it so that I was no longer her person, and she changed it to my niece because she saw that I was like, okay, let's do it.
We're pointing out here my slackerism for not having a GD's mom story time segment piece of media ready to go.
That's because you can't stop jacking off to the picture that you had.
Wow.
He's making GD some little hand brothers and sisters.
I don't even know how to process that. That's
yeah, you do. You hold it, you stroke it.
I mean a guy commenting about jerking off to his own mother's picture for one of some. I want to call myself a friend now. Maybe that's a little forward. But
I think we've reached friends.
I think once you've started masturbating to pictures of my mom, you can call yourself my friend. That was what my friends did when we were kids, so I'm used to it.
Your Honor, all's fair. I have not masturbated, and I think I still got my masturbation's anonymous coin here. Let me see. 4 years, 3 months, and 27 days. So
that was for your right hand though. Where's the coin for your left hand?
My left hand doesn't work. So I guess I should play.
You have to have a token for each hand.
Are you a retard?
I'm not a retard, but we do have one available. Let's listen to him.
The United States extended its ban on flights to Haiti's capital until September 8th due to escalating gang violence. This decision follows reports from a UN human rights expert indicating that gang violence in Haiti is more dire than ever, with gangs controlling up to 85% of Port-au-Prince.
Over 1 million people have been displaced due to the violence, facing hunger and sexual violence in makeshift camps. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration initially imposed the flight ban in November after gangs opened fire on 3 commercial planes. Jim Kender reported.
China, Iran, and Russia conducted joint naval drills in the Gulf of Oman near the strategic Strait of Hormuz on Tuesday. The exercises, named Maritime Security Belt 2025, come amid rising tensions between Tehran and the United States over Iran's expanding nuclear program.
The drills included live fire exercises and featured vessels from Russia and China patrolling a region typically overseen by the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet based in Bahrain. Observers from countries including Azerbaijan, Iraq, and Pakistan attended the drills, underscoring China and Russia's support for Iran. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Pakistani insurgents attacked a passenger train in Balochistan province on Tuesday, taking over 100 hostages as the train passed through a tunnel. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Security forces engaged in a firefight with the insurgents who used women and children as human shields. Officials later rescued at least 104 passengers. Balochistan, rich in oil and minerals, has experienced previous attacks by separatist groups claiming discrimination by the central government.
This is the latest news headlines.
President Trump dismissed concerns regarding his planned tariffs on various trading partners, which have raised the possibility of a recession this year. The U.S. stock market reacted negatively, with the S&P 500 experiencing significant losses.
Despite market turmoil, the administration remains focused on implementing its trade policies. The president is scheduled to meet with business leaders to discuss the economic outlook amid these developments. Lawrence Keller reporting.
The Trump administration announced the resumption of military aid to Ukraine and intelligence sharing with Kiev after a suspension lasting over a week. This move aims to encourage Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to negotiate peace with Russia. Kevin Sanders with the latest.
Talks in Saudi Arabia led to Ukraine's willingness to agree to a 30-day ceasefire, pending the Kremlin's agreement. The European Union has pledged continued support for Ukraine amid these developments.
A school bus carrying 31 people overturned on the Garden State Parkway in Montvale, New Jersey on Monday night, resulting in 15 injuries. Jessica Oakley reports.
The accident prompted a significant emergency response, with visuals showing the bus on its side and the emergency door open. Governor Phil Murphy stated that the situation is under investigation by state police and transportation officials.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
The guy who sounds like Carl reminded me. Carl is, I don't know if he's still in my hemisphere, your hemisphere, our hemisphere. But he was, and he didn't bother calling in, being in the same, well, close to the same time zone. But I don't know if he's still there. He was in Rio the other day in Brazil. Usually when he's there, he calls in. He's too busy doing the news. He's too busy being an AI voice for the news. Somebody's named Amy Nixon. No, I don't doubt she's related. The USA is weird now. If you're a person under 30, you probably think it's normal, but it's because you don't know. Trust me, it's weird. It is weird right now, right?
Yeah.
Very weird. It's so weird that we're gonna have college kids with every letter in the alphabet in his last name, and it's just like a jumble. You're supposed to try to make a word out of it, right?
Yeah. It's like
he'll show up. He'll show up.
It's like that game. Was it Boggle? Where you shake it up and the letters just fall down and you try to find more words out of the boggle.
I'm going to check out and let you host the show when he gets here, because I have nothing to say to a college kid. You're much more college hip than you were.
Because he went to Morehouse, and that's a historically black college, so you think I would have more to do, more to understand?
Well, that's not a black college, is it? I mean, Phil Simmons.
I thought Brown was a black college.
State, wasn't it Morehead
Morehouse?
State?
I thought you said Morehouse. Did it say Morehouse or Morehead?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I want Morehead.
No, I think you're right. I think it is Morehead. I don't know. I saw Morehouse.
State, that's where Phil Sims went. That's a white Kentucky, in my old Kentucky plantation or whatever. Did somebody just fart? Did somebody just fart? Maybe that was me. Maybe when my ear
Probably you.
farted. No, I know when I fart. I could feel the fart. I heard it.
That was the
Somebody farted.
burp.
Oh, burp fart.
So let's see.
I don't know.
I think
Anal cough.
We're just gonna sit here. Who wants to get in a Tesla with me?
Well, I do.
Oh,
have,
yeah,
I'll get in the
go
Tesla.
ahead,
I do
Dave.
have showbiz, but I don't think you want to start that yet.
Why? Why don't we want to start that?
Because we have a guest coming in 10, right?
Do you think?
Maybe.
Well, we should
What's
find
the
out.
odds?
I think it's 350 over is the odds for him to show up.
No, Kentucky.
If I'm not vaping, I'm raping.
Not true. Not my motto.
Wait, that's a woman saying that, right?
Yes.
She's stealing Ron's material from his show.
She's raping though.
Yeah. Well, originally it was. I think it was just my voice. And I put a lady's voice on it. It's just fun to mix it up.
You went transvoical?
Yeah.
Vagina.
He's
Vagina.
Transvocal. I don't know if you know this about me. Do you know this about me?
I didn't know this about me, but go ahead.
My first sexual experience was being raped by a woman. Well, a woman. She was a girl.
Womanish, right? Yeah, close enough.
Well, she was. I think she was 18.
Woman
I was
adjacent.
13. She was. If she wasn't, she was 17, close to the edge of being a woman.
She was 17, going on 18.
She took my innocence. Anyway,
I wouldn't call it innocence. She took my.
She took your payroll. That's it. She took your roll of $1 bill, your roll of quarters. She took your paper route money.
She took my first load. That's what she took. My first load. But I wasn't prepared for it. I was drunk and passed out in the backseat of a car and woke up and she was naked on top of me. That's all I remember. That's how I remember it. I barely remember it. But so there are women who rape. She's not, but people weren't vaping then. People didn't even know what vaping meant.
Well, vaping was probably something totally different. Like they probably had like vape trails or something.
Right. Yeah. So what was that little int? You did a little int after that. Or you're shorting out? Is there
gas? Trying to hold back gas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't hold back. What is this? What is this big message? You guys continue on for a second without me. Just say something to each other.
It's that guy saying, "I'm so aroused right now. I can't come on the show because I just got to get it out of me."
I'm not doing it. No, it won't. No, it won't be. No, you can't do that.
Did anyone watch Everybody's Live with John Mulaney last night?
I didn't get a chance to. I plan on watching that this evening.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I watched it with the television off and my eyes closed.
It still felt, the show was not bad. It still felt like a little bit of a fever dream, so it'll be interesting.
Ron, you have this way of describing things. Like it's very seldom do you say things are really good. Most of the time you say it wasn't bad. That's
Right.
just like that is like, and I'm trying to figure out from your Ronisms on a level of 0 to 10 what these things are. So I'm thinking it wasn't bad. It's like a 6 or so.
Can you give us any example of what would be really good that we could like hold up as a standard of goodness?
For that show, what makes it good is it's always seems
it just got upgraded from not bad to good.
I know. I noticed that too. I saw it. It got upgraded.
Yeah, I'd give it maybe an 8.
Wow.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to watch it.
The quality of it is good. They're still figuring things out even from the last time. And it's funny that that type of show is existing. And I think that's like part of the joke is that it's a fucking talk show. Like that it's just like, oh, we're gonna do a talk show, and that's the fucking joke.
But there are other talk shows out there. I mean, I'm just saying, like of course, I'm not an authority on it. I'm just thinking like The View. I think that's a talk show, right?
Yeah, it
I
just.
don't.
I mean, of all shows to just bring out and like, oh, we're gonna do like a regular standard type of talk show with a panel of 3 to 4 guests, then we have a monologue and all that. So it's nothing like new in that aspect, but at the same
Groundbreaking.
time, it feels like that's part of the joke.
All right.
Well, I think the real joke would be if they had me host it, because no one knows who the fuck I am.
I disagree. I disagree. There are people who know who you are.
I don't think so.
Blind Mike knows who you are.
No, he doesn't really know me. He doesn't. He knows what the other people have said about me.
But
I've listened to his comments about me.
Carl Taco knows who you are. He knows you intimately.
Who's Carl Taco? Oh, just the cheeseburger guy?
Taco.
Okay.
Burgers weren't selling well.
Hey, I'll be at Taco Rock in Arlington on Saturday night.
Arlington,
Virginia.
Texas? Oh.
Yeah, I'll be at Taco Rock early in the evening, and then I'll be over at Henri Brewing in Arlington, Virginia that same night.
Damn.
Cool.
Yeah. Arlington, that's very, from what I remember, it could be different now, but that's very white, right? That's
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Virginia, very lily white.
It's like the Pasadena of DC.
Yeah, it's tough because like the audiences, they're there for comedy, but like a lot of them are very uptight because they're like consultants and shit, and everyone's more than likely works for the government that's at that show. They have some.
Speaking of the government, our chief military correspondent is in the chat room.
Did you demote him?
Huh?
Did you demote him?
No.
Now he's fan first class.
I think he's retired now from all the military service and stuff, and he doesn't like me to bring up his rank. What was his rank? Do you remember his rank when he retired? 7-star general or something.
As like a 6-star general.
6-star.
Yeah.
I could have sworn he was a 7-star. I don't know. What do I know?
Oh, I think you're studying for a 7-star.
Oh, because the last time I saw him was at a Texaco.
Yeah.
Anyway, so good morning, General Mike. Don't say that. He gets angry when you bring up his rank.
Retired. It's a properly would be retired general. Retired 6-star General Mike.
Last man to walk on the moon. Now we were supposed to be hunting Nazis here today. Apparently, we're just hunting a show. That's what we're doing. We're hunting.
We're hunting dog coffee.
We're hunting for Red March, right? Because
Right.
Red October isn't for another few months.
No, I don't know why that certain gentleman would want to just deny his honors and his Medal of Honor and all that kind of stuff in such a vehement way. No, I'm not. That's not me, the hero. Don't celebrate me. Don't have a ticker tape parade for me.
He is truly humble. He is truly, truly humble.
Truly, truly humble.
I can never be that humble. If I was a 6-star general, you best believe I'd let everybody know it.
All right. Yeah. All right. So what do we do today? Let's do showbiz because fuck this. The guest isn't showing anyway.
All right.
Fuck him.
He's probably on Moorhead time.
Maybe that will get him to show, and then he'll enjoy the showbiz report, right?
Matt, sometimes you remind me of Robert Duvall in the movie Colors, the 1989 movie Colors. Because Robert Duvall plays the older policeman who's been on the force for years and he knows the streets. Then Sean Penn joins him. And there is this one scene when Robert Duvall is talking to Sean Penn. He's like, take it easy. Now I'm going to tell you the story. There are these 2 bulls up on the hill. The one bull says, we should run down and fuck one of those cows. Then the older bull goes, nah, we should walk down and fuck them all.
Exactly.
That's what exactly you sound like. You sound like Robert Duvall sometimes when he.
And the funny thing is, Sean Penn tells that story to the next rookie, and Sean Penn is probably only 2 weeks older. He's only like 2 weeks older than he was when he heard the story.
I sound more like Robert Duvall in To Kill a Mockingbird, right? Now, Robert Duvall, great actor, long career, and in so many really good roles. But he never seemed to get a day older. Like he was an old man when he started with To Kill a Mockingbird, right? Or he seemed old. He just never seemed to age. He was always
he
the
was
same
in
age.
Apocalypse Now, and I'm gonna bring up his.
I think he was in. I just said it.
The movie that he was in with James Earl Jones, where they were brothers, where Robert Duvall's playing this hardcore Southern bigot.
Right.
And it turns out he's half black, and he finds out in the movie, but he still hates black people, even though he finds out he's half black. That's one of his.
He wasn't he Major Burns in the first MASH?
He was
the movie.
Yes, so many. I mean, that one that he directed where he threw his own funeral. This was one I forget the name of the movie, but he's like this old codger in the woods who fakes his own death.
Right.
And then he throws his own funeral just to see how people would react. And that was his baby. That was his. I think that's to date his only directorial effort.
Yeah,
I remember that movie.
He had 147 acting credits. His first,
and they're all major parts. Like he doesn't have bit parts, right? Everything.
His debut was on an episode of a show called Playhouse 90 back in 1960.
Was that with Pee Wee Herman?
No. He was on Alfred Hitchcock Presents in 1962. He was on The Twilight Zone. Yeah, he's got a lot of TV early in his careers, like The Fugitive, The Outer Limits, Defenders. And he was on the show Shane, The Wild Wild West. He was on that. The FBI. He was in the original MASH in 1970.
And he was Tom Hagen. My brother Tom Hagen.
Yep, he was in The Godfather Part 2 in 19.
I'm thinking he played. I'm trying to think of a movie where I thought he played a priest, but I'm trying to remember now.
A priest?
Yeah, he was in The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper. Yeah, he's in so much shit.
Yeah. All right. It doesn't look like Matthew, all the alphabet's going to show up either because he's late.
Now, apparently, Matt, the problem that we're having is that we're getting Michael Kaufman mixed up with Michael Kaufman because Michael Kaufman says he was never in the military. So I'm thinking there's another Michael Kaufman that was a 6-star general.
You said he was never in the military?
That's what this Michael Kaufman says.
I like omelets better than sex.
I like.
Yeah, I think we're getting all Michael Kaufman's mixed up.
He was never in the military. I think that's code for a 7-star general.
I think that's code for he was in the military.
Are you a retard?
I think yes.
That's just what somebody who's in the military would say.
That's exactly. That's the Bob Woodward line. You know.
Yeah, that's how he would start every interview. He would just come out and go,
"Are you a retard?"
I'd watch.
Uh-oh, somebody's beeping. It's
my phone.
GD.
Yeah, my phone just vibrated.
Michael Granowitz.
My phone just vibrated. It's my friend of mine, a buddy of mine.
This Matthew Granowitz. He said he was excited about this program, coming on the program. He went out of his way to book this thing, and then he doesn't show up. These people are just so weird. Is it all time zone related, daylight savings related, or are these people just friggin' weird? Oh.
No, I think people they forget about it, or they're like, I don't care about this because what's it gonna be?
He says, I'm trying to join now. I'm sorry, my internet is giving me trouble. Well, how are you on the website for where you book this thing? if your internet is giving you trouble. That
I
doesn't
keep
make-
squeezing it, it's going to explode.
Does that make any sense at all? I'm having internet trouble. He says that on the internet. Can't connect.
Well, you could be having video issues, which could be a connection problem.
No, we've done audio only with the 8-ball graphic in front of his face. Steven's looking at his cock and saying,
Kids look like retards. You guys look like retards.
Fuck it. Then I'm just
do it.
Fuck them all. We'll walk down and fuck them all.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Showbiz.
Showbiz, everybody. Hey, it is Thirsty Thursday. Don't get confused with Thirsty Tuesday. Thirsty Thursday is definitely leftover bucket night, so come on down. Like I said, every week we collect whatever is in the buckets and we pour them for drinks. A nickel a shot. So come on down. You never know what you're gonna get.
What are we
You know what you're going to get? It's going to be typhoid.
Welcome to Minucci's.
What are we demonstrating in this picture with this tall person with his arm resting on this short lady's head?
That his armpits smell good.
Yes.
Probably she's not good.
This guy, his name is Girth Master, and he has an OnlyFans, and he hooks up with these tiny women.
Well, that's why. So girth master is a relative term then.
Well, no, I mean, once you see that fucking hammer that guy is walking around with.
I'm really depressed about what's going on in some of these smaller networks that we're on. Apparently, we've been shadow banned in some of these places. I keep getting this thing from Instagram that running several streams at once. I'm not running several streams at once. I'm running one stream. Why are you seeing several streams at once? All right. I'm sorry. I'm just grumpy.
Hey, Matt, maybe when they introduce the Reels app, you can broadcast on there.
Yeah.
All right. So this is happening. There's a sequel to the fucking Spinal Tap.
Yep. Damn. They might be up to 70 drummers by now.
12. So no one asked for this, but it's happening. I think it's been almost 50 years since the original.
Yeah, let me say, I asked for it, but I asked for it 45 years ago, or whatever. Now they're just going to be old people, right?
I think that maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're going to be like saying this is what the Stones should be like if they were us.
80,
they're going to be like really bad.
They got to be 80 years old, right? These guys,
Michael McKean is up there in age. He's definitely like late 70s.
Yeah, I think all these guys are. Is Rob Reiner directing it?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
I think it'll see. I may be giving Rob Reiner too much credit because I think he does more good stuff than bad stuff when it comes to movies. But
yeah, Michael McKean was born in 1947.
So next year will be 80.
2 years before my grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's currently in that Broadway play with Bill Burr.
That's right. That's right.
So
There's a lot of names in that play. I mean, this is why. Well, it's not why, but Broadway tickets are so expensive. But when you get all these movie stars coming, that's going to even jack up the price even more for these Broadway tickets. I would love to go see that Glenn Ross. Now, I'm not a Broadway guy. I mean, it's too upclass, too high class.
Matt, have you ever seen the YouTube video of Glenn and Gary and Glenn and Ross?
No. Are you sure?
Oh my God! No.
You sure didn't mean Pornhub?
No. Go after the show. Look that up on YouTube. The video is probably like 10 to 15 fucking years old, and someone took Glenn and Gary, Glenn Ross, recut it about a guy who suffers from Tourette's. It is so fucking funny. It is a great trailer. Check it out. Glenn and
All
Gary
right.
and Glenn and Ross.
CGD, that's where he comes off with his not forget about not bad. This is over the top rave from Ron Kane about.
Yeah.
So
There's like laughter. There's you got to check it out. And he's laughing. He's laughing so much he can barely get the sentences out.
It's 3 thumbs up from Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 3 thumbs up and 2 in the butt. Hey, that's what
Speaking of Snow White. Speaking of Snow White.
Yeah.
Who
So
is
the live action. Okay, this story has a lot of hair on it, even though everyone may be shaved. Cats fighting. Hey, so this movie comes out March 21st. It's the live action version of Snow White. And they were supposed to have like a premiere this week, but it's been very scaled down because the star of the film created some controversy because she's Palestinian and she's like, hey, I'm for Palestine. And Gal Gadot, who plays the evil witch, is Israeli, and she came out in full support of Israel. Then on top of that, they've had to deal with, because of the dwarfs in the film, Peter Dinklage was on Mark Maron's podcast a few months ago talking about how embarrassing it is for a movie like Snow White to keep doing like these stereotypes of the dwarf community. So that got fucking people riled up. And
what's the stereotype?
Didn't they make like 2 versions of this? Or not them, but the one that like the
Take
Huntsman.
it easy. Let me fucking finish.
Okay.
So, with Peter Dinklage saying that, Disney came out and said, hey, they're not really, we've done everything in our power to change this outlook of the dwarf community, and the dwarves are not stereotypical and all that bullshit. So this is where this movie currently stands. People are upset because of the woman that is playing Snow White. No one is happy about this movie currently.
Except for maybe the actors that are getting paid to do it.
Yeah, we need to unionize the dwarfs. Dwarfs United. But see, they can't see eye to eye on anything because they're all different heights.
But I'm just saying, but isn't this like, because if I'm not mistaken, they did 2 Huntsman movies with the guy that played Thor, and that was like live action Snow White.
Yes.
So another live action Snow White.
Yes. Yep.
I have it every day in my yard. My wife.
Yeah, Disney's been doing this the past few years, where they'll take one of their very animated, popular movies and then turn it into a live action movie. Because there is a live action of Moana. Moana, yeah. That's coming out.
86 years ago, Snow White changed film forever. It was the first animated feature, and it won Academy Awards and all this stuff, and it actually made people cry and all. People react. Nobody thought people would get emotional over a cartoon. But it's almost 100 years ago now, and we're still fixated on snow, trying to ride the coattails of Walt Disney. I'm sorry, I derailed the show.
And his frozen head. Disney and his frozen head. All right.
This is the inspiration for that movie.
Suge Knight.
Yep, this is Suge Knight. And he recently spoke to TMZ because Snoop Dogg has been talking about how Snoop Dogg owns Death Row Records. And according to Suge Knight, he's saying, show me the paperwork. He's saying Snoop Dogg does not own Death Row Records. So this feud continues. These two have had a feud for a while. Suge Knight is still currently serving a 28-year sentence for a hit and run. So there is that as well. But this guy, Suge Knight, always, even in jail, is a menace to people.
Right. How many? No, he's actually killed people, right?
What?
Didn't he kill Tupac? Didn't he? Isn't he?
There are yeah. There's allegedly, I think there's implications I don't know everything about that
There were
case.
so many people living in fear of him. I think it's kind of like if that many people fear the guy, you got to think people know he's killed people. I don't know who he's killed, but right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
a
maybe.
murderer.
Yeah, and there's that story where he hung Vanilla Ice from a hotel balcony.
Who hasn't wanted to do that?
I've done that. I think we've established that I did that, and by accident, the guy slipped out of his sneakers, and I had to run from California. A statute of limitations is up on that, by the way. That was 44 years ago.
And
yeah,
so,
who hasn't hung a
you
guy
gave
out
up the rights to Ice Ice Baby.
I did, yeah.
All right. So this is from Instagram. I thought this was a fascinating story. Apparently, a Tokyo store will let you steal anything for $7, as much as you can. And you can steal snacks, used books, merchandise, and clothing can be stolen. Now, here's the catch: you pay $7, and it's like a game because inside the store they have high frequency microphones to pick up sounds. So if they catch you stealing on the microphones, then you do not get to keep what you steal. So it is a game. You got to go in there undetected and steal something.
It sounds like a Mr. Beast episode.
It does, but it's in Tokyo, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Say Cujo is being remade and is coming to Netflix. And so we're getting another fucking remake. This one, Cujo. If you've seen the original Cujo, do you really need a remake of it? I don't know. I guess somebody.
Well, now, of course, I never read the Cujo book. I'm pretty sure my wife has, and so I cannot compare that Cujo in that movie to the book. But if the new version is going to be closer to the book than that other one, I can see why they might want to make it. I just can't see why I'd still want to see it.
Yeah. Just a quick note to Matthew, who's in the background, or Pan, as he might want to be known. We know you're there. We're just finishing up this segment before we bring you in. So don't run away like half our guests do. Okay.
Yeah, like
Stephen King. How old is Stephen King? Because there he looks about 90, right?
He's in his late 70s as well, or he might be 80 now.
Damn, he was successful young then, because I could have swore he was already successful by the time I was in junior high school. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
yeah, I mean he's been around for a while, and he did start writing when he was a teen, so it's very possible. So we had the store in Tokyo where you could steal. In Vegas, there is a place called the John Wick Experience that opened. So you can go into this, and it's a whole immersive John Wick experience. They have waiters and waitresses, and there's different sets from the movie, and it's kind of like an escape room. They give you a task and things like that, but they haven't said whether or not you can shoot people or not.
You probably shoot people with ink balls. Maybe, but what I'm wondering about is, can you stab people in the neck with pencils?
Maybe.
What I'm wondering about, are you telling me that if I walk in there, I can walk 10 feet without hitting a penny slot machine or something like that? Because everywhere in Vegas, it's all about those dopey slot machines, right? Even though it's called the John Wick Experience, apparently John Wick loves to play the penny slots.
Yes. I would say inside of it, no, but I bet you there's a machine or two in the lobby.
Gotta be.
Yeah,
right.
I would agree.
But if you play the slot machine and you lose, John Wick gets to shoot you in the face.
Yeah, he just shoot you in the back of the head. Keanu Reeves will come kill you. I hate the Grateful Dead, but I figured I'd mention this. But the Grateful Dead is releasing a CD set covering from 1969 to 1994. And guess how many CDs are in this special package?
I'm going to say 3, because they only have a Grateful Dead song can last for 2 days.
All right, Matt, your guess?
5.
Steven? Everyone is wrong. Everyone loses. The number of CDs in this, 60. 60 CDs.
Oh, so it's a lot of live performances stuff, right?
Yes, yeah. So if you're really into the Dead, which I don't know why you would be, maybe you have other issues going on in your life. Maybe you've given up as a child. I don't know. But if you want it, it's out there.
All right, I guess ran away.
Now, you said 60 CDs. Do you have a suggested retail price on that?
I do not have a price on it, but I'm
Just the
sure.
CDs alone, even if they were blank, would go.
Yeah, the blank CDs would be like $1.25 a piece, I think.
Yeah.
I would say easily 200 for this.
Wow.
Yeah, probably.
Before we move on, can I ask? This might be too long an answer, but what exists specifically about the Grateful Dead that you hate? I mean, there's a lot to hate, but I just, in your particular case, can you nail down why you hate them?
I'm just not a big fan of like just jam bands and songs that just keep going on and just.
You don't like Metallica?
No, not a big Metallica fan either.
Not either, honestly, but I was just curious.
See, I've had a lot of Grateful Dead heads in my life, and I don't really love the Deadhead experience. There was some Grateful Dead music that I thought was good, but it was okay. I never thought it was over the top or that important. I've been to a lot of Dead shows, and they are an experience. But this idea that Jerry Garcia was some kind of great guitar player, that never resonated with me. It's just like, yeah, so what? I
think if you're stoned enough, he's a good guitar player.
I've been stoned enough, believe me. I've been stoned enough, and
I'm still stoned, and I don't get it.
yeah. I mean, it's okay, just okay.
Yeah,
but, we're traveling around the world to. Oh, I got to see every Dead show. I got to go to Bozeman, Montana, to see a Dead show there. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Well, John Mayer is now part of the Dead, and some other musicians as well.
Right.
The only song I can really stand by them was probably like their only hit was that "Touch of Grey" song.
That was their MTV, yeah. When they and that was 1994, so that's why it goes to 1994. Because before that, they hadn't released a single in like a good 15 years before that. So
I like Truckin' and the Touch of Grey.
Right.
I remember seeing the Ramones back in the day in the 90s. And on the day that Jerry Garcia died, that's the day I seen him. And Johnny Ramone come out with a shirt that said, "I'll be grateful when Jerry's dead."
Jesus Christ.
The fat man rocks. All right.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Johnny Ramone was a miserable asshole, and he was like a hardcore conservative too. And
you say he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. People change as they get older.
He was old. Anyway, we're all getting laid off. That's right. Sirius XM is laying off workers. And if you remember, Sirius XM just a few months ago paid like $60 million for the Call Me Daddy podcast. It's just one of them. But some people are losing their jobs, and I would expect more of this to come. I'm very surprised that Sirius is still around, actually.
You think they could fire enough people? You think they could fire enough people that are making $60 million that they could pay for that podcast?
Let's face it, satellite radio is almost dead. It's almost dead. It's just like it's waiting for the forensic specialist to come in and pronounce time of death, and just go on, move on. You served you're the Napster of modern times. It's time for you to lay down and have dirt thrown on you.
What about, this kind of popped in my head. What if they're waiting? They want, Stern is up to retire like any day now. So is it possible that Sirius XM in like 2 to 3 years makes a serious hard play for Joe Rogan to replace Stern?
I hope not.
I don't think so, because Rogan is not paying a return on investment for Spotify at this point. just not. I mean, they're losing money on him, and his price. He priced himself out of the competition for anything like this. So a company that's just they're going to cut Stern to loss. Okay, that's a loss, but they have because $200 million is the price tag now on Rogan. $200 million.
Man,
it's going to stay with.
I just wonder how they fucking justify that. Like that podcast can't be bringing in that much money. I'm sure it's making money, but
they're losing money. They definitely are losing, without a doubt. Yeah, that's a very funny joke especially from an ex-military guy. Oh, did I just do that? Did I just?
Yeah, I think you did that because I'm still sharing. It says.
All right. Well, let me undo that. How do I undo? Come on. I go here, back up here. Let's go this. Put it
there
back.
we go.
No, I can't. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so I'll go past this because we already kind of mentioned this. Check it out. It's on for. They have 11 more episodes coming, and enjoy the suffering, everybody.
Oh,
that's it.
Right.
All right, it's time to meet our guest here. Our guest who has shown up, and he's got really nothing to promote. Matthew Grinkowitz. That's a guess that what his name is. His name has every letter.
Zeitgeist.
Oh yeah, Pan Zeitgeist. I'm sorry. Whatever I just said, that's not his real name. But his real last name has every letter in the alphabet, and it's 3 or 4 times, and it's just jumbled together. And every time he spells it differently. But he's from a small town in Kentucky, and he went to an accelerated STEM program in Morehead State University at 16 years old. He's excelled academically and is now enrolled as a graduate student, and he wants to make a difference in the world, and he's come to the right place, hasn't he? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Where is he? He should be there. Why do we not have him there? Here we go. Matthew or Pan. What should I address you as, Pan? Can you hear me? Do you hear me? He doesn't hear me. You hear? You see? This is funny.
He said in the chat. I think he said in the chat, seems to be kind of in and out, and I'm not sure if it is me.
All right. You want to just leave him up there and make believe, and I'll ask him questions, and Stephen, you answer as Alex Jones. Okay.
Speak American.
Right. Yeah. So, Pan, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, except for all the damn liberals everywhere.
All right. Now, you say you want to make a difference in the world. Exactly what kind of difference would you like to make in the world?
Well, I would like for all the school shootings, instead of being false flags, for them to be real.
Oh, okay. Now, this is interesting. Pan, do you have a thing against pots?
Well, I prefer pans over pots because pots are normally black, and you know how I feel about that.
I'm out of question. CD,
are you a pansy?
Someone called me a pansy. Someone called me a potsy once, too, so I don't know the difference.
Was that Peter? Peter Pan?
No, it was Tinkerbell. I put her in my dick hole.
All right. I guess that's all we have for Alex. I mean, Pan. I mean, Matthew. I mean, me. I told you this was going to be a weird show, didn't I? Didn't I give you four?
Weird show.
Didn't I foretell?
So this is going to be the show that Burger Guy is going to record and post.
Absolutely. First of all, it's the taco guy. I told you burgers weren't selling well, but we just saw Pan or Matthew move just a little bit.
Oh,
just a little bit.
Yeah, his hand moved.
Yeah, he panned. His hand panned. His head panned a little too.
Is it working now?
A little bit.
Not really.
We hear you some.
We hear you a little bit.
Okay.
I would think a university
sorry.
would have decent internet.
No, I'm at home, so I actually live like an hour from school now. I moved back home, but yeah, so I'm like out in like rural Kentucky, and the internet is really bad.
Now, is there such a thing as rural Kentucky? Because I thought all of Kentucky was rural.
Right.
No, you
well, so there's Louisville, which is the biggest city. Its population is a couple 100,000, so it's not very much, but we consider that urban here. So
wow. So congratulations on being an advanced academic person there.
Thank you.
What are you really gonna? What are you doing with your life? That's the question. You're not liberal arts. What do you? Uh, you say in your bio that you want to make a difference in the world. What are you? In what area? What field of discipline?
Well, so my bachelor's degree is in political science, and I minored in philosophy, and I'm currently pursuing.
Unemployed?
Well, I mean, yes, actually. So I worked at a pharmacy until December 31st, and then I left. I'd worked there for years, and I get enough money from school to be fine. And I'm trying to find something to do. I'm probably going to get a part-time job soon just to help pay for stuff. But currently, yeah. But I'm pursuing my bachelor's or my graduate degree in political science as well. I guess I want to be involved in politics, but I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's like working in politics or like talking about it. Because I want to try to push ideas that really do change the world, like in terms of governance and people's views. So that's like why I'm trying to get in this space. I feel like this is a good space to talk about things and have open discussions.
All right, here's a really not a gotcha, but your interest is in politics, but we're at a point where, and I don't know if you agree with me or not on this, but where authoritarianism is going to take away any real political discourse. It's just going to be we're on a fast downhill slide into no need for politics. Well, we don't need any kind of discourse here. We'll be dictated what the beliefs and where everybody should stand. And if you're not standing in the right place, you move to South Carolina, where we are reinstituting the firing squad. Do you agree with any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely two paths we can go down. One is the kind of authoritarian path, like you said, made up of like Christian nationalists, white nationalists, these right wingers who are trying to like destroy the administrative state and kind of assume control under this techno dictatorship that they're trying to form. But I don't know how likely that is. I think the American people, overall, throughout the arch of history, I mean, we've gotten better. We're not the best, but we've gotten better. So I think there's definitely a possibility for improvement. I mean, if, for example, if you're talking about the Trump, administration and like deporting people, if they start doing mass deportations and you're rounding people up and that's on the news, I mean, that's not good electorally. I mean, not talk about the morality of that. Like, I don't think that's moral. But if you have, millions of people or, in cages or being deported families who have been here for 30 years, I think the American people will vote against that. So, I mean, I have hope.
See, here's my disagreement with you on that. You're coming at it from a common sense, because I would have thought that people would have woke up to what he is and they don't seem to really care unless it happens directly to them. It's the old Nazi thing. I was a Jew and they came for the Jews and I was not a Jew, so it didn't affect me. Blah, blah, all that. I think that's where the support comes from. As long as you don't touch my family, I'm okay.
I mean, yeah, but you're seeing how Doge is cutting a bunch of government jobs, and they're trying to cut people's Social Security, people's Medicare, people's Medicaid, and unemployment, tons of things. And a lot of people don't realize a lot of the MAGA people are poor white people who are on Medicaid,
But you're missing something. They're poor, ignorant white people. They're not making a connection.
I mean, that is true, but I feel like, I mean, Trump can't run again, right? And so who is his successor? Donald Jr. He's not charismatic. I mean, you have the vice president, and I mean, nobody really thinks he's like charismatic and can really do the same, like have the same impact as Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump, most people voted for him because people are mad. People are angry and they see the failures of our institutions and the past 30 years of governance since like, you know, really since like Bush and Reagan, but I mean more so since Clinton, the failures of neoliberalism. So I think people are just mad, and he's kind of a sledgehammer to that. But after him, I mean, the sky's the limit if the Democratic Party can change.
I feel like he definitely thinks he is running again. Damn this Constitution or the 22nd Amendment or any of that kind of stuff. He believes he's running again, and if not, I don't know if you're familiar with the film called The Boys from Brazil, but Barron looks like a legitimate clone.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Yesterday, somebody on Fox, I think it was Laura Ingraham, one of these Fox talking heads said, the American people understand this. Donald Trump knows business. And I was like, that lie, that's another debunked lie that they just cling to. That's like cats and the Haitians are eating cats and dogs. That has been disproved so many times, but they still, oh, he's a great businessman. No, he's not. He's never been. If he would have just taken the money his father gave him and put it in his savings account with minimal interest, he'd have more money than, well, he'd also have to continue with stealing and all that stuff. But he never made money in business. All his businesses have failed, but they stick to that mantra. He's good for business. Donald Trump knows business. He don't even know that the impact of tariffs on business. So
yeah, I
well,
mean,
just to push back just a little bit, Matt, I think he's had 2 successful businesses, but only in the sense that, like his meme coin thing, I think they made money before he folded. You know, he made bank on that.
Yeah.
And True Social is a failure, but he still made bank on that as well. It didn't produce any money, but he did make bank.
I mean, I think what the art of the deal was ghost written. He didn't write it. And about his businesses, I mean, I think what he knows is reality TV. I think that's what he's good at. I think if Donald Trump never ran for president, if he never got into politics, he would just still be some funny figure that liberals would be laughing at. He'd still be rubbing shoulders with Clintons and, you know, with the Bushes and all the, you know, mainstream political figures. I think what he knows is, and this goes to why his meme coin is successful. Plus, you know, he's running for office, but he just is a character that some people who are not as informed are drawn to. And
right.
So I think that's what he's good at. I mean, his businesses, it's all just, I mean, right-wing propaganda is what they're trying to do to like push the idea of a businessman, because the Republicans need someone who's good at business to be the head of the party.
Well, see, here's the deal. They have legitimate people that are actually really good at business. Okay?
Name one.
I'm thinking like Peter Thiel, right? Yeah. So, but the people that are really good at business don't want to risk the backlash of being like, for example, Musk. He's suffering a backlash because he actually put his face out there and says, these are my politics and this is what I want to do. And now he's suffering a backlash. The real rich businessmen are too smart to put their face on there. They will put their money behind another candidate to push their agenda, like Thiel did with the dance, you know. But
I think if and I could be wrong about this, of course, I could be wrong about everything. But I think if Musk were eligible, if he were born in the U.S., I don't think he'd have any problem with running for it. Peter Thiel has a problem with the Republican Party. He can't run as a Republican because he's gay. And that will never fly. The Republican Party will never vote for a gay president. Never. I can say that with pretty much certainty. But yeah, I hear what you're saying about Trump. But here's the thing: I know the Hitler stuff might be a little bit overplayed, but when Hitler was in prison, he went out of his way to develop understanding the power of image and put out these photographs, and had a photographer come in and create this whole imagery about him with his and all the lighting and all that stuff. I think Trump has really learned how to manipulate media and image to the point where the gullible and the people who want to believe will believe that this is the guy that he says he is, rather than the guy who he really. And they don't want to look at the facts; they're looking at the pictures that were put out there, or the images that were put out there for him on his behalf, the propaganda stuff. So he learned a little bit about the power of that from studying Adolf Hitler. And as much as he denies it, I think his wife put it out, Ivana, the first wife, put it out there that he was an avid student of Hitler. So I think that's part of it. It's all image. Yeah. As far as what?
I mean, if he's a student of Hitler, I don't think he's actually read anything. Like,
that's probably true.
I think he just likes to watch. If there was a TV show or if somebody was talking about it, he took things from that, and he admired the idea. I mean, you see how he admires dictators and he admires these strong men across the world, but I don't think he's reading academic text about how Hitler rose to power, or reading anything that's critical of
No, he watches a lot of television though. I'll bet you anything.
Yeah.
The History Channel is in his little favorites or whatever he's got selected on there.
And he doesn't pay attention to the things he don't want to, even if he's watching documentaries, he's not paying attention to the things he doesn't want to hear. Because one of the things he said to his generals, was a General Mark Milley, is that he wants generals like Hitler had, and Trump didn't realize that his own generals tried to kill him. So, it's even when he's watching these things, he's not paying attention. He's just oh, look, he's looking at the images of all that stuff, but he's not paying attention to the details.
Yeah,
I think Trump climbs into bed in his big diaper, and his wife holds and reads him Mein Kampf while he drinks a baby bottle of Diet Coke.
I have to correct you on one thing, Stephen. It's big ass diaper, not just big diaper. It's big ass.
My
diaper.
mistake.
Yeah.
Now
Razmov Vaughn shits his pants.
Talk to me about your undergraduate. I'm really curious about this. In the political science majors, were those classes? I mean, how big were class? I'm thinking back to 1977, my freshman year. The political science class had 8 people in it. Eastern New Mexico University. Not a big political science. But what is your is your generation tuned into political science?
I mean, so the class size is somewhere in the mid-teens to 20 or so, depending on the class. And I go to the University of Louisville, but I would say political science itself has grown since 1977. I mean, so political science really wasn't developed as a degree and as an actual form of study until the mid 1900s. So that was probably early on in the development of it, because it didn't really start till they started doing polling in the 1930s, 1920s or so, and that's kind of political science comes out of, let's figure out how to accurately represent people in a poll to determine what the likely outcome of an election could be, and then also there's theory, which came before that, but really political theory was integrated into this idea of political science. But I would say a lot of young people are heavily invested in politics. I mean, you see that there's a rise in political activity among whether good or bad, whether they're voting for Trump. A lot of young men went towards Trump, but a lot of people are really getting invested, and you're seeing high turnout numbers among young people.
Now, in all fairness, when Matt was in school in 77 as a freshman, political science was still an elective and it was being taught by the gym teacher. So,
well, I mean, the gym teacher may have had some different takes than the professors that I had.
My first professor was Professor Sinha. He was from India. And it was a very weird thing because in New Mexico, at that time. It was, still white Irish people were dominant over Native Americans and Latinos. Or what they call. They didn't use Latinos. Chicanos is what the preferred term of that era were. But so it was like the Dolan Murphy gang. So to see a Indian guy teaching political science in a university in very white New Mexico at the time was unusual. But yeah, I think, because I was alluding to this before, a lot of people who were in the youth were not political at all, became political when cable news started delivering 24-hour propaganda, whether it was from right or left. People got hooked on just watching the eye candy, because they're very good. Fox News in particular, with graphics and pretty women and that kind of stuff that draw your eye in, and now you're watching it. You just wanted to beat off to the pretty woman, and now she's giving you stuff that's getting into your head, and then all of a sudden you're becoming politicized and becoming actively political. I think that, but not necessarily thinking for themselves. They're just addicted to cable news and talking points wherever it comes from, and you never see real original thought. I hate to brand your whole generation like this, but people. I was talking about a guy from my generation who wasn't political at all until the mid '90s, and then all of a sudden, now he's like hardcore. But I do think what Trump would call fake news, and Fox News being the fakest of the fake news, all that stuff contributes to people thinking they're political when they're not really being political. They're being used by people with a political agenda. Do you agree?
I mean, yeah, I think the 24-hour news cycle is really a part of kind of the state of politics right now. CNN, I think, was the first 24-hour news station, and then going in, you got like Fox News and MSNBC, and now there's others like Newsmax, and uh, there's a couple other of these like 24-hour news stations, and I think it does make people feel as though they're informed when they're not really informed, with the big breaking news headlines, and they're putting out this propaganda, and really that's used also by the United States government to just push whatever ideas they want. But yeah, I think a lot of people do think they're informed on the right, and you go to these like Trump events, these Trump, and they're like interviewing people, and they like list out like Biden policies or Harris policies or Bernie policies. And they're like, Trump said this. And they're like, they love it. And they're like, that's amazing. And then you tell them, oh, this is who said it. And then they get upset and they storm off. So yeah, I think that's a major problem, but I wouldn't say it's particular among young people. There's a lot of older people who are really just glued to Fox News. Like I have
No
some people
doubt
in my
about it.
family,
Yeah.
like
No
yeah,
doubt about yeah. That's absolutely true. And the fact is, and I know this, if I go to perform in a nursing home, which I'll probably do later today, the televisions will be on everywhere in the facility, tuned to Fox News. If you go to like Planet Fitness, you'll see 100 televisions. 90 of them will have Fox News on. Maybe you'll get one with CNN on it over in the corner that nobody's paying attention to. But because Fox News is somehow managed to get into mainstream small business televisions, it's everywhere. You can't get away from it, and so a lot of old people sucking up this stuff as well as young people.
Well, in our area, Matt, which is some of it is very conservative. Some of the bars that used to play Fox News and things like that, you go in there now, they actually do not have news on anymore.
Wow. Because it was causing too many fights.
Maybe there's this one VFW where my wife plays pool at, in one of her leagues, and they used to fucking show Newsmax all the time. Not anymore. I think people complained, and it's like so much better in there now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
I mean, I think kind of people stepping back some. I know that we need to be involved and we need to be active throughout, the next, 3 years until the end of this. And I mean, we have an election in a year. now. I mean, a little bit over a year. And I mean, we should be active, but I think a lot of people need to step back from watching it. I think they need to pay attention to like the big things, but this people need to stop staring at their phone and at the TV and getting like really upset about everything. Like you should be on the street if Trump tries to deport people. You should be active in the world. But I wouldn't take the propaganda because all of these companies, it doesn't matter if they're liberal or right wing. They are owned by a billionaire class that serves the interest of the rich. And you see even companies that are liberal, like the Washington Post, which is owned by a billionaire, and they don't talk about oligarchy. They're not supposed to be talking about oligarchy on there right now because the rich people don't want you to actually see what the problem is.
I'm confused by Bezos because you just kind of labeled the Washington Post as liberal. And Jeff Bezos, of course, is the owner of that now. I think in the 70s, up until Bezos bought it, it was very liberal. I think it's one of those things that made a hard right turn, or at least is supportive of or hopeful. It's hard to tell if they're really true believers or just hoping for the best or just trying to save their own skin until he passes. But there are a lot of people who I will be surprised, like Zuckerberg and Bezos. These people seem to be making a MAGA shift.
I think the name liberal is just stuck to the Washington Post, but the Washington Post is not a liberal rag anymore. Because Bezos is putting his thumb on the scales of the op-eds. And matter of fact, I think 2 or 3 people just left. 2 of the op-ed people just left because he's putting too much of his thumb on the scale of what they can and cannot say.
I mean, I would argue that it might be less liberal, but I think the heart of liberalism, which is a failing ideology, is that liberalism goes like neoliberalism goes back to the liberalism of the late 1800s, which was one that led to the Gilded Age. So the Gilded Age was was an era in American history where the wealthy robber barons had most of the wealth, and this was seen as like, like we were growing economically, we had development in industry, but really it was America looked beautiful on the outside. On the inside, you had like 12-hour, 16-hour work days, you had child labor, and you had the crumbs going to most people. And then we had a progressive era in the early 1900s where there was a redistribution of wealth, there were higher taxes on the rich, and there were government programs set up like Social Security, and there were job work programs. So that is progressive ideology. Liberalism inherently, which we've been kind of brainwashed with this, we think liberalism is left wing. Liberalism is not left wing. Liberalism is a center right ideology. And you see right wing parties in Europe are liberal, or centrist parties are liberal. The left wing parties in Europe are the Social Democrats, or Labor parties, or even in France, the Socialist Party. So these parties have been watered down and gotten more moderate, but these parties are actually left wing. And I think liberalism is still kind of an accurate, or liberal is kind of an accurate description of some of these papers that people would consider left wing in the United States, because we don't really have an accurate understanding of the political spectrum because of how right wing our government is.
Right. I would agree with that to a large extent. I think, but the idea of how you fight back against the robber barons in this is this is it's obviously the right wing, the Republican Party, the conservatives, if you want to call them conservative, because I think conservatives got all mixed up too. What does it mean to be conservative? But those people are never going to fight back against the robber barons, because they have been led to believe that the Rockefellers and, and the Vanderbilts, the robber barons, the original robber barons, were good for America. And I came back to this whole idea of trickle down. Trickle down gets because they think of Reagan's trickle down policies, and Reagan's trickle down did not work. It failed the American people. But I think Eisenhower laid out that trickle down could work, but it requires bureaucracy and a high degree of regulation, rules and regulations, and incentives for billionaires or the oligarchs to do the right thing and create jobs, high-paying jobs, in order to keep their money. They are highly incentivized to do the right thing. And where Reagan took over, they basically said, we'll just trust them to do the right thing. But if you'd rather buy a boat the size of a city block, that's up to you. It's your money. But we'd prefer you create jobs with it. But human nature being, you do what you want to do. But I do think that whole trickle down thing could work with enough rate. I think Eisenhower proved that 90% corporate tax rate, but all those corporations were creating a lot of jobs and a lot of good paying jobs for the middle class, and the middle class grew because the rich people and the corporations saw loopholes that if I create enough innovation and jobs that I get to keep more of my money, then it works. Do you agree or disagree with what I just said?
I mean, I would say that I think maybe not trickle down economics, but like targeted like lowering of taxes to certain industries in order to grow them, and then eventually shifting to higher taxes is something you could do. But I think, I mean, and again, I'm going to say the golden age. This was not the golden age, but in a sense, the growth of the middle class, when the middle class was the strongest, and this didn't apply for all communities, but which we could be integrated into changing this for the future with integration of, black and brown people in the United States into this middle class. But the 1950s was the middle class had grown to the largest extent. That's the white picket fence, the suburban America, and that's what a lot of these people think back to. A lot of these people on the right are like, oh, I like the 1950s. That's when my parents grew up. They had, the suburban life, the white picket fence, the dog, the 2 kids, the wife, right? And it is kind of overshadowed by the history of race in America and the history of women's rights and these like past and even current injustices. But
also back then, the period of the 50s, they also had the implementation of the GI Bill. So a lot of those people who got their picket fence in their neighborhoods were veterans, and they got their stuff through the GI Bill, and they were whites. It's because the blacks and Hispanic and minorities were being redlined and denied those very same benefits.
Did you have a black picket fence?
No, we had a it was brown, but it wasn't picket.
A barbed wire.
It was brown, but it was metal, and it was rusted.
I'm sorry.
Until we painted it.
I always look for the lowest common possible area of discussion there.
Yes, you do.
So now, and we're over time here, but I want to, because you popped in late, give you a little more time here. With the area of, because they used to say, you go to college, what's the end goal here? There are no jobs other than for political science people, other than working for political campaigns or journalism, right? Or am I missing something? Teaching. Those are the 3 options.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like research and being a professor, working. I mean, in politics, there's a broad range of jobs. So there's journalism, but you would also have to probably have a journalism degree. I mean, you could get into it, but at the traditional like journalistic institutions, you have to have that that journalism degree. But you can work for campaigns, you can work for the government, you can work at like interest groups, which I mean, these are things I don't really want to do. So these are things that like I don't really want to be in the system and a part of the problem. So that's why, I mean, really anybody can get into podcasting and get into content creation and try to, make a change that way, and then maybe get into politics later. But I think having that political science degree is helping me in a way that I'm able to kind of understand it from an academic lens and apply that to the real world.
Yeah.
You have to get a PhD to do it like Rachel Maddow. I think she's the most famous political science major on the planet.
Here's what I want you to do. At some point in the next day or two, I'm going to send you a link for this. You should, for this conversation, you should archive that, put it on a hard drive somewhere, and when you get to be my age, come back and listen to yourself talking today and see how much you still agree with yourself as you're an old man.
I've already changed a lot in the past. I mean, like 5, 6, 7 years. So I can imagine that by the time I get that
I
age,
think I've gone through many different phases of left, right, center. You know what? I think decade by decade I've changed. But I would love.
Matt, my question now, what did your essential goal change, or and just
I don't know. This is what I was just about to say. I would love to have something to reference, to listen to myself and really connect, because I have memories but my memories are biased because I'm always going to keep myself in the most favorable light in my own head. But if I had a video to go back to and look at myself, I might go, "Whoa, that's me."
Because I remember when I was a teenager and I was getting political in school. Because before that, I kept it outside of school. Once I brought it into school and I brought my opinions with me, I've always been for equal justice. I've always been for free speech. There's certain things I've always been for, but the political lens I viewed those things through have changed. Like I was a Nixon supporter in 70.
So,
70, yeah. And in 68, I was handing out Nixon paraphernalia and flyers. But even with that, even though I was doing that, I still wanted equal justice. I still was like a follower of Martin Luther King, or just So, but the things I wanted were like what Martin Luther King wanted, but my viewpoint was through the lens of, let's say, Nixon, and now I'm in my 60s, and I still want the same things I wanted back then. But I would just as soon piss on Nixon as I would,
Yeah, here's how the inequality played out. You were in Florida, handing out bumper stickers for Nixon or something like that.
Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland.
I could have sworn you said Florida, but anyway.
Well, no, I used to live in Florida, but that was after.
I was doing the same thing at the same time, but I was getting paid for it because I'm white.
Yeah, and I didn't get paid for it. Matter of fact, I had to hide it from my mother because she would have beaten all the black off of me, and then I would have been white.
Damn good looking woman. I don't know if I mentioned that. But anyway, what about, I'm just curious. I want to call you Matthew, but I see Pan in front of me. So Pan.
No, you can call me Matthew. It's fine.
All right. Your take on, first of all, the idea of a deep state. Because I think if and I've actually worked for some of the agencies that are mentioned in the deep state in my youth. I never saw any inkling of a real consolidated effort. Maybe people had agendas, but it wasn't. People don't work together well. It's like organized crime, very disorganized, if you ask me. So the idea of deep state and this whole conspiratorial bent that everything we don't understand must be a huge conspiracy. Is does your generation bought into that, and is there any way out of it?
I think a lot of my generation maybe hasn't fully bought into this idea the way that you see like QAnon and stuff, which kind of was like a Gen X and like boomer type conspiracy theory back in the 2020 election. There were some millennials in it, but and probably some Gen Z, but I think mostly the conspiracies that young people like to think about or agree with are like the Epstein stuff, the some people think the 9/11 stuff, but really about the deep state. I mean, the closest to a deep state there is two things. One, the CIA, which we know has, did kill prominent members of the Black Liberation Movement, and also interferes in governments all around the world, and that's just true. But there's a lot of conspiracies about the CIA that aren't true, and really, I think what rich people have done, if there is any deep state, it's not deep. It's right in your eyes. It's the billionaires who fund all the campaigns. that is the real deep state. They have say over our elected officials. And I think one of the biggest things is rich people convincing the world, or at least the masses in the United States, that there's some secret cabal in the shadows, when really it's the Jeff Bezoses and the Elon Musks and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world.
Well, that's because they used to be secret, and now they've got where they can just. Some of them have been outed. Like the Koch brothers. No one even heard of the Koch brothers until like they like. I mean, the first I heard of the Koch brothers when Rachel Maddow just laid all this stuff out. It's like she exposed everything about them, and they lost their shit because they're like, "Wait a minute, we like being anonymous. How dare you?" People didn't even know there was a Koch brother, and now. So they were there, but now they've been exposed, and so now they're trying to redirect it and saying,
Here's my and again, I preface everything with I could be wrong about all this, but I don't think it's a deep state. I think, like you said, it's a very shallow state. I think there's no question that agencies and people within the agencies that work for the government have done some really bad and nefarious things. But I think the level of conspiracy is not deep. It's a couple of rogue guys whispering, "Don't let the chief find out about this, but this is what we really need to do." And so eventually the chief does find out about it, and then he's got to cover it up. That kind of thing happens all the time. But I don't think that let's get everybody together in a boardroom and plan out how we can do, because people don't keep secrets. No matter how much you sign an NDA or pledge to secrecy and all that stuff, human nature is people don't keep secrets. So, and my experience with this within those agencies and within quote unquote organized crime, it's very shallow conspiracies. 2 or 3 people trying to get away with it, and then other people find out about it and have to cover it up to save their own ass.
So how would you consider Hoover and what he did with the FBI deep state? Because even though he wasn't like the president, he did do some things on behalf of the president. But most of what he did was him being rogue and his own prejudices,
I think there was the Hoover era was the most Wild West, the FBI. So Hoover was working with presidents, but also against the same presidents that he was working with at the same time. And a lot of his agents, if you kind of know some of these people and have talked to them, a lot of his FBI people who were molded by Hoover and handpicked also hated him and were working against him. This is why we know so many dirty things about him, because they were keeping journals on him and they were spilling their guts to people, behind him, off the record type of stuff. This is why we know all the bad stuff about him. So that's Wild West. That's what I'm saying. It was not like everybody together. It was like little rogue factions here and there. And absolutely, Hoover covered up for a lot of stuff that, while he might have condoned, he didn't actually know what's going on in his name. It's a shallow state. A lot of little shallow army rogue states within all these agencies. So anyway, so do you think it's going to get worse? Your general, because I'm going to be dead. GD's probably going to be dead before me, probably before the end of the show. But do you think your generation is going to carry the ball and make the conspiratorial mindset where everything we don't understand must be a deep conspiracy? Are they going to make that worse, or are they going to make that better?
I think it depends. I mean, a lot of young people struggle with their attention span and struggle with, a lot of like focus issues, and that's because of the content and the screens and the addiction to, social media and stuff. And these platforms would make it worse, especially if they don't do a lot of content moderation, the way we're seeing, and they're not really putting notes. It could get worse. But I mean, I hope, and I always try to stay optimistic. I'd say that it will probably get better, but I do think there are some things that the government should be, come out and talk about. Whether that's the Epstein files, which I don't know if they even have a file, but Epstein, could be linked to Mossad and the CIA and like getting dirt on politicians, and that was like the whole point of it, was to like blackmail these politicians to doing what they wanted, and that could
I think
include
there's no
Donald Trump as
question of
well. And
that.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. And
Why
so
would a
I mean,
guy
there are
have all
some
these?
things that
Yeah, the
yeah,
portraits of
well,
Clinton
yeah,
hanging on his wall. If that wasn't,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's like that was the whole operation. And
yeah,
there are some things that people, if you know the government's lying about something, then your mind just like, well, what else are they lying about? And so we
right.
need transparency. And I think transparency can help bring that down. So, but I do think that optimism is the best route and the best way to get change done, because if you live in this negativity and you live in like the world's going to end, it's all horrible, then you don't really get out in the world and make change, and you don't really feel motivated to make change.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You know what? I'm very selfish in that regard. I know the world is going to end, but as far as the predictions of timeline, I think I'll end before the world does, so it doesn't. Okay. Uh,
Yeah, I
anyway,
mean, I hope that it happens after I die as well.
yeah, I do too. Now this is something I'm interested. I really want to. Have you had a social media account your entire life? Like you were born in the era of social media, right? So you've been on social media forever.
I mean, since like middle school. I mean, I was born in '03, so, and Facebook didn't really get big until like 2012. But it was around that time I started, but basically most of my life.
Here's the one, because we talk about like fact checking or moderation and all this stuff. Um, it seems to me that Facebook in general has took a MAGA turn. Twitter, we know, has I don't know. Musk is beyond MAGA. He wants to rule the
Dark
world.
MAGA is what they call
Yeah.
them, I think.
But so what I think is a pressing issue, and I'm just curious if you would agree with this or disagree with this, that the one regulation law I would like to see in effect is that everybody on all social media must be validated using their own real name if they're putting up a photo, not a fake photo or all this stuff. If you're gonna go out there and talk shit, you should be able to take responsibility for the shit you're talking and put your own name to it. Do you agree with that on any level, or are you a person who says, well, anonymity or privacy is more important, and so we have to let people just be anonymous and say whatever the fuck they want?
I mean, I think I would be open to it, but I think there's a broader discussion of like where on the internet that needs to be. So, if, uh, like you said, if you're on like Instagram, Facebook, um, or something like that, there should be a system where if you set up a personal account, you should have to be verified. I believe you shouldn't be able to have multiple different of these personal accounts. But for business accounts, I think it could be different. I think it could be like you have to verify you're the person, you're setting up this account for business or for like promotional reasons, and you don't necessarily have to have your face on there. But there could be. I mean, there's a wide range of how like of regulations that could determine that. But I think I'm generally open to that idea, because I don't think people should be allowed to just post anonymously and say, racial slurs or,
Anything.
harass people and threaten to kill, like all these things that happen on the internet.
I got in an argument with a guy on Twitter, and I said, I'm not going to listen to your points until you actually tell me who you really are. What are you going to do? Come and fight me? You're an old man. And like, no, it's not about fighting you. It's about having you on the record as a real person, standing behind your words, rather than just somebody who's afraid to say, yes, this is me and this is what I believe, and this is why I believe it. I think there's a lot of danger to that. It encourages people to just lie and lie without any kind of accountability or responsibility at all. It's just about being responsible for the words you say. And I
Yeah.
think anonymity takes that away from people and makes it, I'm brave enough. I can say anything because nobody will ever know who I am.
Yeah,
It's,
I think the anonymity of the internet has allowed a lot of silent thoughts that have probably persisted. I mean, you have to think about, I mean, we're not but 40, 100, like 160 years from the abolishment of slavery in the United States. Some people who are still alive, their grandparents or their great grandparents were slave owners or slaves. You have people who are really racist or have these like underlying ideas, and so they push that out and they say these things. You have a lot of built up feelings from like bad family lives where not even, I mean, a couple decades ago gay people, I mean, weren't supposed to be seen really that much, and they were not really thought about. They didn't have the same rights, and people come from homes where they're repressed. Like a lot of men who are straight are not straight. Like a lot of men are sexually repressed. They're like bi or they're gay or whatever, and they don't really acknowledge that it's normal to have a range of sexual expression, and they have a lot of repression, and the anonymity allows them to just let that pain out, and that's a major problem with the internet, I would say.
Yeah, Ron has a theory that everybody in America is bi, but I think a lot of hetero guys will naturally push back against that because of. But I was interested yesterday. We were supposed to, or a couple of days ago, it might have been yesterday. I don't know. I lose track. We were supposed to have a gay guy on. And I was wondering if gay guys react the same way to that suggestion that everybody's bi the same way hetero guys, because that means everybody's down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I had this guy I worked with who told me he was super straight, and that means he's one of the few people on the edge who are like absolutely heterosexual. And I was like, you're just actually not. Like anybody who would say that, they're not actually super straight.
Mike, Colonel Mike, I mean General Mike, I mean not any rank Mike, says huge direction would argue. Now I haven't heard from Huge. He blocked me several years, probably a decade ago. I haven't heard from Huge Direction.
I feel so freaking stupid. Okay, I thought that was a real person. I was trying to Google him.
That is a real person. That's a real person. He used to be on my friends list. He's from Copeg, Long Island.
I didn't read it the right way. I really read the word Hugh. Hug. I saw the name Hugh, and I was trying
Direction. Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, I didn't pronounce it phonetically.
His best friends with a guy named Hanover Penis.
So I feel so stupid now. Otherwise, I would not have shared that comment. I would have caught on to it, but I was.
Matthew, I appreciate you being on the program. We're over time here, but I would like to extend an invitation for you to come back periodically, bring some useful perspective, the perspective of your generation to this program, because we're just a couple of boomers here, a couple of millennials, and we're not necessarily in touch with your generation. So
yeah,
appreciate
I mean,
and we may have an opening soon because I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody is going to get fired. No.
Did you want to say something, Matthew?
Oh no, I was gonna say that I would love to come back on. Maybe in the next couple months I'll be in a better place with better internet. So,
Okay.
it might be better quality.
You have an open invitation. You know where the booking calendar is. You can just put yourself on there at your own liberty. Thank you for being part of the program. I appreciate your insights and everything you brought here today. Thanks. Have a great day.
It was nice to talk to you. You too.
That's
I
a
just cut him off in
coincidence.
the middle of a sentence.
Stephen, your dad is on his way to a better place. You think he'll have better internet?
Actually, they have Starlink where he's going, right? Interesting perspective there from the youth. Do you think he's representative of his generation? What are they? Generation XYZ, PAQ, every letter in his. That's what his last name really is. It's the generation, right? That generation GYXQRWX.
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Would he be Generation Alpha? I mean, how old is that guy?
Probably, I would say 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, he might be Generation Alpha.
Alpha? Oh, we're starting at the beginning again. We're back to A. Well, I did not know that.
But we never started at the beginning. That's just it. We
I
started
know.
with Boomer, and then next thing you know, it's like Gen X. It's like
Right.
what? And then Gen
Oh,
Y. Gen...
and I got something for you guys. I pulled.
Oh no! Stop it. No.
You heard the one about the two bulls? Not yet. Not yet. Well, these two bulls are sitting on a grassy knoll overlooking a herd of Guernseys. And the baby bull says, "Hey, Pop, let's run down and fuck one of those cows." But the Papa bull says, "No, son. Let's walk down. Fuck them all."
Oh yeah. Fuck them all. He said he was born in 2003, so that would make him 22. 22.
Hold on.
I think I was right with that
What
guess.
generation are you if you were born in 2003?
What did you say? Just say off mic.
He's Gen Z.
Gen Z. Well, all right. And when does Alpha start? 25.
When
or
does
2005?
Gen Alpha begin?
A little earlier now, I guess.
Yeah.
2010.
All right. Do we have anything else worthwhile to say here, or should I just like crash this thing into a train?
Hey, everybody, it's Carl Hitler.
Do we have anything funny? You got anybody, Ron? You gigging this weekend? You're the only one I have faith in to be gigging.
Yeah, this Friday I'm going to be at Fratelli's in New Cumberland. That show starts at 8:00. I'm just doing the guest spot. Damian Robinson is hosting, so come on out for that. Then Saturday night I'll be at Taco Rock in Arlington, Virginia. Then a little later the same night I'll be in Henri Brewing in Arlington, Virginia as well.
Very good. Go out and see Ron. He's very funny. And you know what? I'm not just saying that because he's on this program. When I saw him do stand, I was very impressed seeing him live. I think you will be too. And he did so under not the best conditions, not the best optimal performance conditions. So very good stuff.
Yeah, he was sober.
I noticed that our friend GD had our other friend Lana Seibel on his GD So Funny podcast. I'm going to ask for you guys for some help because I'm going to reach out to her. I've been in talks with Abby from Sticks and Stones. Abby would like to do some really pro comedy initiatives, like help. She's very active within the comedy community, owns a comedy club, and would like to promote comedians. What she wants to do is help people film specials or even get content out there. She wants to. I know Bear has got like a Facebook stand-up comedy thing. She wants to have a YouTube hub for great comedies in lines with the 800-Pound Gorilla and Comedy Dynamics and all those things that are out there. She wants to build that. But she asked me if I would reach out to Lana and another friend of mine who has done dry bar comedy to understand the structure of those deals and how to make that work best for comedians. So I don't know if either one of you guys are comfortable with just ask Lana if she'd be open to talking to Abby, and maybe we could, open some doors for people getting into Sticks and Stones, which is, I know it's a far commute for you guys, but I think the exposure and her filmmaking contacts and everything that she's into would be very.
Now, does Abby want people to reach out to her? Like, no, so if you say, like, for example, if you gave me Abby's contact, could I give it to Lana, and Lana would be like directly talking to Abby, or does Lana have to go through you to get to Abby?
Abby asked specifically if I could hook her up with Lana to have this conversation about how those kind of dry bar deals. Like, we're very interested in dry bar because dry bar is one of the few things that really doesn't shortchange comedians and doesn't just use them or abuse them, exploit them. They're in it to help comedians, and I know they have rules, but they also put production value and all that kind of stuff. She just wants to understand how that they work, to model that where it's a way that comedians feel like they're not going to get used and abused and exploited.
Well, they probably get, I would imagine they probably get a flat rate. I would think the biggest sticking point for a comedian with dry bar would be, what would your residuals be? Do you own your own? Do you own?
Yeah,
do you own the
what they
special?
want to know.
As I understand it, you do own your material, but what happens is Dryball put out, they paid you something, And once you don't start seeing money until Dry Bar kind of makes their money back.
Yeah.
So like if their special costs, let's say $700, you don't start seeing money until they recoup that $700.
Yes.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think Lana even mentioned that, like, that was the type of deal. Like, it's almost like a record company kind of back in the day. Like, we're gonna make back our production costs, and after that, you're good.
Here's where this is what we want to clear up, because there are comedy clubs, like Gotham Comedy Club, with tapes everybody's set, and then they use it and put stuff out there. The comedians get nothing. They don't.
It's like a promotional thing. Gotham, like, but they don't. I don't think they own the material. They just own that footage.
Right.
Well, that's how I kind of feel about Kill Tony. You know, like, these guys are making bank and they're rolling in it, and they're just taking advantage of open micers, basically.
What I love about Abby, and listen, I'm not just saying this to kind of be self-serving or anything, that her first comment to me is, I want to make sure that the comedians are taken care of and not exploited.
That's fucking beautiful.
That's so unusual
awesome.
in the business.
I mean, as a comedian who's been taken advantage of, and I'm sure most of us have been, I mean, to hear anybody come out and say that, especially the first couple comments, I mean, that's not something you hear of. So that's beautiful. I love it.
Well, Matt, if you want to send me Abby's contact, I'll forward it to Lana. I'll text it to her today and let her know.
Please keep me in the loop with it. So I'll do it and CC me on all this stuff, just so I know where the conversation's going. And
in that case, I will create a group thread then. I will text you on.
And you can mention me by name for Lana and say, like, Matt is saying that, you know, Abby would love to have this conversation about this stuff. If you're open to having the conversation, not asking to see the actual documents, like, let me see your contract. I don't think she's that. She's just curious about how to structure the thing so that it works for everybody. So that
if you want to, then just send me what it is you want Lana to know, and I'll just literally cut and paste it and give it to Lana. Okay.
And yeah, so and there's opportunity for you, and the reason I'm bringing it up here, and as opposed to offline, everybody within the sound of my voice, there's opportunity to be had in a place where there are lots of movie producers, television producers, people in the business who are part of the audience. So I think a spot, if you got a opening spot or a feature spot in Sticks and Stones, it's worth double what it would be in any other comedy club, because you're exposed. Not maybe the Comedy Store would be much bigger, and maybe the Mothership would be as big, but it's one of the ones where you can make an impression to people who can really are in the position to really boost your career. So if you can get in with this and become friends with Sticks and Stones, I think you're on the ground level of something that could be very helpful to your career.
What's her name? Is she on Facebook?
Huh?
Is she on Facebook?
She's on Facebook. She does more on Instagram.
What's her name?
Just under Sticks and Stones Comedy. See, I don't think she has a personal thing on there, but I'll send you guys all the information. Anyway, that's a place to crash this thing into the wall for today. Right? Mm-hmm. We've done enough. We've done enough damage. We are obviously.
Hey, everybody! It's Carl Hitler.
We promised Nazi hunting. We did no Nazi hunting, even though I found a Nazi. Right, I had a Nazi to lead with. But
just make sure you say hi to Kyle Hitler today.
Kyle Hitler. All right. Have a great day. And Steven, stop yawning while I'm telling people to not.
Man,
forget.
I am exhausted.
And give your dad my love.
In what way?
Don't send me another jar, Genie. I'm not dumping it on him.
Like the way Willie's dad gave him his love. I mean, I'm just.
No, I was gonna say something rather crude, and I shouldn't say that.
Oh, like I didn't. Anyway.
If I'm not vaping, I'm raping.
And don't forget to turn on your vaping.
Finish inside me. Finish inside me. Finish inside me. Turn on the radio.
look like retards.
Hey, everybody, it's
Are you a retard?
What you wanna do, baby? It's on you, baby. Walk around nappy. What you wanna do, baby? It's on you, baby. Walk around nappy. Gotta walk around, man. Who the hell are you? Walk around nappy. Don't worry. No matter what, don't worry.
Listen to me now. Listen to me now.